Dame toda la noche, no nos queda mucho tiempo más. No quiero perder lo que queda. Seguimos siempre la pasión y confiamos solo en el amor. Yeah. No quiero perder lo que queda. Y más allá, a través de la gran oscuridad, hasta que me convierta en rayos. Y más allá, a través de la gran oscuridad. Y más convierta en rayos. Y más allá, a través de la gran oscuridad. Y más crecemos en número, en solo un trueno de los horizontes. Seremos miles. Más allá, a través de la gran oscuridad, hasta que me convierta en rayos. Y más allá, a través de la gran oscuridad. Y más
me. I just follow your trail and I'm losing your mind and I'm losing your head. Let me escape from this unlove, cause I'm a prisoner. I just want to look my way and never back to you.
We're
wanna walk with you, and things are about to change, it's evolution. Once you shake the ground, you feel it moving with the revolution. Can you give me what I need? Just give me what I want, baby. Can you give me what I need? Just give me what I want. Just give me what I want. Give me what I'm looking for. Just give me what I want, baby. Just give me what I want. Can you give me what I need? Just give me what I want, baby. Can you give me what I need? Just give me what I want. Just give me what I want. Give me what I'm looking for.
Abrázame toda la noche, no nos queda mucho tiempo más. No quiero perder lo que queda. Seguimos siempre la pasión y confiamos solo en el amor. Yeah. No quiero perder lo que queda. Y más allá, a través de la gran oscuridad, hasta que me convierta en rayos. Y más allá, a través de la gran oscuridad. Y más
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Simplay Motorsport here for the Pro Series round 19 and 20 of this one. I'm delighted to be joined in the commentary box by my co-commentator on a Thursday night and partner in crime, Kelly. Kelly, how are you?
I'm very well, Matthew. Yourself?
I'm very good, thank you.
Excellent, excellent. I'm looking forward to this one, my friend.
It's going to be a very fascinating race, isn't it?
I do hope so, yes. Yes,
We're also
I do
joined
hope so.
We're also joined in the commentary box by a special guest tonight. You may see him on a Wednesday night. He's took a few wins this season. We're joined in the box. You guys will know him at the moment as Liam Gamer, but that Bozzy boy for those newcomers to the league. Liam, evening to yourself.
Evening, Matt.
Are you looking forward to this race?
Yeah. I think it's going to be an exciting race. Just looking at the weather, who we've got on track, so on.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be a cracking night tonight. If you missed last night, go and check out one out. First win for both Argent and Rabbit Joe. Took their first wins. Rabbit Joe his first win in sim racing, and Argent his first win in 2 seasons here at Simplay. He won in a previous league, but hasn't won yet at Simplay until last night. So go and check them out for them two guys. Very, very pleased with last night's work. And Rabbit Joe in the chat saying good evening, everyone. It's nice to see the race winner here. And Kelly, Mount Panorama Bathurst special event every time of year, obviously cancelled this year due to COVID, but we've not cancelled it. We've got it on our calendar, and it's going to be an absolutely cracking event.
It absolutely is. And the first thing I need to say is, what lunatic, what half-wit picked this as a track? Oh yes, I remember. My son. Yes, that was the one who'd done it. Yeah, so everyone blamed Dan. I've got a love-hate relationship with this track. I think it's absolutely fantastic to watch and a nightmare to drive.
Yeah, from the spectator point of view, it's brilliant. As a driver's point of view, nah.
Absolutely.
I don't care for it.
Yeah, I'm expecting spins. I'm expecting crashes. I'm expecting high action. All that, because this is an absolute crazy track. Of course, those of you who don't know where we are, we're at Bathurst Mount Panorama, which is New South Wales in Australia. It's a huge race event, racetrack in Oz. It is home of the Bathurst 1000. Now, again, if you're not up on the Australians, they love their V8 supercars, which is a touring car. Basically, the Holdens and the Fords and a couple of others nowadays. But this has been a stable race meeting for donkey's years, for many years. Yeah. And the Bathurst 1000 is the big event here. Yes, it's a firm favourite with the Aussies, that's for certain sure.
And a little one to tell you then, I know Matt Neal and Gordon Shedden have actually entered in the Bathurst 1000 a couple of times. Matt Neal's done the Bathurst 1000. I do believe a few other touring car drivers may have as well. So even, it's that big an event that even our drivers on the British Isles think, I'm going to have a piece of that and I want to test my skills around this very tricky circuit. It's a circuit of 3 bits, it really. You've got turns 1 and the final couple of corners and a nice bit of straights that you'd see on a normal circuit. Then you get the uphill of the mountain, which it's not too narrow, but it's still going to be tricky, a bit like a Monaco-esque, a Long Beach-esque sort of circuit. And then you get to the downhill of the mountain, which is very much Monaco-esque, which is tight, twisty, terrible. I think the 3 T's.
Yeah, and of course after all that, then you've got the chase, which is the very long downhill straight, flat scat, 165 mile an hour drag race down to the bottom. So crazy racetrack. It's an FIA Grade 3 track, and is I did have the length here in front of me just a moment ago. It's 6.2 kilometres or 3.8 miles, so quite a long track, 23 turns. Current, I got conflicting things about the lap record. It's got on the current circuit, so I don't quite know what they mean by the current circuit. But Shane van Gisbergen, which is a very good V8 driver, he did it in a McLaren 650 GTS with a time of a 2:01.5, although I know Jenson Button did a lap in this a decade ago in his McLaren of the time, and did it in I believe it was a 1:49 in the McLaren. So
Apex was telling me about that one earlier, and I was very impressed to find out that the McLaren could make it down the mountain. You know, they normally you see them at Monaco, don't they? They come up the hill round Casino Square, I think it is, and they avoid that bump, don't they, on the downhill section towards the hotel. They avoid that bump. So the fact he's got an F1 car around this circuit, hats off to Jenson Button. I'm just going to run you through the championship standings then. Big Boy Brazier comes into this one with a 6-point lead. For those of you who follow the page or group, it was 9 points, I believe, But due to penalties in the week, Little Eats dropped 2 places, giving him 2 extra points, and then he picked up a 5-point penalty on his championship point standings. So he goes into this one 6 points in the lead of Gary 131, who had a dismal Imola, and one he'll want to forget. D Big sits in P3, 71 points off the back, with Sooty Apex in 4th place. Little Eats then in 5th, 10 points behind Sooty Apex, but also 18 points off the back of D Biggs. Good little fight for the top 3 here. Also in that top 3 battle is Emo Guy and Andy, who sit just behind Little Eats. They're really up for this one. Dan then comes just behind them. He's a few points further back. He's 25 points off the back of Andy, with Peaceful Explosion a further 3 points behind him. And then it's the battle for the final top 10 spot of the season. Keegs, Phil, Welshie, Mazda. Keegs on 99, Phil on 95, Welshie on 84, and Mazda on 61 isn't yet out of this one. Deeks then comes in P15 with Fury P16, and not racing tonight all but seals what is the inevitable relegation for Fury to the Pro-Am. So it does look like he'll be racing in the 2nd tier next season. Also, Leach Motorsport lead the Constructors' Championship by 88 points from Iron Brew Racing A, with Forever Forward in 2nd place. Further 22 points behind them. Class of 97 still in with a shout mathematically, bit impossible though, as a Run Flat Racing, but if Leach Motorsport outscore Run Flat Racing by 3 points tonight, they will be out of the running. Shake and Bake Motorsport lost AH earlier in the season and do well to still sit P6 in this one, with FU Racing in P7, P80's DW Racing, and Simplay Racing of Mazda on his own sits bottom of the standings. Kelly, 104 points left up for the title and 6 points separating the 2 leaders, Big Boy Brazier and Gary. It's going to go any way, isn't it, at the minute?
Absolutely, mate. Yeah, and both guys are capable, more than capable, so it's going to be interesting. We'll see how they what their mindsets are like. You know, are they going to start just taking points and being a little more conservative about their overtaking manoeuvres and so on and so forth. Both of those guys have had some cracking races. Both of them, we know, are very, very quick boys, but also made lots of mistakes. And I mean, nobody's it doesn't make mistakes. Everyone on the field makes mistakes, but both those guys have had their fair shares of silly ones, really. So let's see what happens. Absolutely. So still all to play for.
It is indeed. And Liam, I just want to grab your point. Obviously, you raced the Porsche like Gary 131. Bathurst last night, you raced. What's the Porsche like around here? Any tips that you could give Gary, or what did you feel that the Porsche was, where it was strong?
I thought going down the hill it felt very strong. Going up the hill it felt a bit iffy, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Going down the straights it felt fast. My only tip would be just keep it on track, and just push and keep it careful at the same time.
Yeah. As we see go on, Kelly, sorry.
Yeah, so I was just going to say to Liam, I thought I did 10 laps before we went on, and the Porsche, it was very twitchy up the mountain and a little bit unstable on the way down. But I think patience is the key, Liam, isn't it not?
Yes, definite.
Yeah, don't try to hustle the car.
One thing I've just noticed, Kelly, Sooty's got a grid penalty. The red marker next to their name means they've got a penalty to their name. But Sooty Apex has a grid penalty, and I believe you're going to want to take us through a lap with Peaceful, who's just coming to start the next one.
Yes. Sorry, I was just going to look. Yeah, quite right. Yeah, grid penalty. Absolutely. Where were we going? Peaceful.
You was on him last lap, and it looked like he wanted to take us through a lap. He's just coming into turn 1.
There we go, and we will do exactly that. We'll go on. We are just through turn 1, which is Hell Corner, and that's because there's a tree stump there, and motorbike riders kept crashing into it and dying. That's why it's called Hell Corner. Oh. Anyway, moving on up here. At the turn 1, you want as much traction as possible as you go up the hill. This is a tricky corner coming up the right-hander. It's fast. You want to scrub a bit of speed, though, because you will just fly out into the wall on the left-hand side, about there. Bring it over to the right-hand side. Double apex. This one is a little small right-hander and then a severe right-hander. In practice, I kept touching that wall all the time. Now, this is tricky up here. Back end goes loose as you go round this section into this right-hander again. Loose on the back end, comes right over to the left. Try and hold it in there. Get back out onto the right-hand side. Unsighted apexes through these couple of corners right out to the wall. This is the worst bit right here for me. As you see someone going out onto the gravel so easy. Brake early on this one. Don't overdrive the car or try to hustle it. The back end will skip. This is downhill, on camber there, but back end will step out. You can get back on the power now through these S's. Not too much through here. You'll lose the back end. Hit the brakes hard. Good traction off this corner. This Peaceful goes deep. Doesn't want to be out there. You need the best traction you can down a Conrod straight. This is absolutely flat scat. 165 miles an hour, top gear, down through here. Every second's going to count as the time's ticking away. This is, you go over just onto the left. There's a little bit of tarmac on the left. Touch out there. Over to the right, flat scat through that. Pick your braking point late as you dare. Don't overdo it because you'll be out onto the grass. And there is a slowdown there, which is probably just got because the slowdown is very powerful there. Down into the last section, coming into the last left-hand, right-hander. Probably go into this one a little bit faster than you would normally think. And if you're going around here quickly, you want to be in the, well, as I say, a 2 minute is a very quick one. But we've got an Orthodubs is in the 2 minute 7s. And as I said, I did 10 laps on the pad in the GT3. And my best time was a 2:13.6. So that gives you an idea what these guys... Sorry?
That would have got you P10 at the moment.
That would have got me P10. I would have taken that probably, but we've still got 7 minutes of the session to go. So quite a field spread here, Matt, isn't there?
Quite a field spread. Top four, Kelly, separated by half a hundredth of a second, 44 thousandths to be precise. And one thing I want to say is track position here is key in qualifying. You do not want to get caught up in a lot of traffic. It will ruin your lap. You see Lamborghini there bouncing all over the coming up the mounting section. Gary's just gone into P6, was down in 14th place, 10 seconds off the leader, and it was a bit straight surreal to see Gary that far down, but he's back up the sharp end of the grid. Down on pole 3 second from D Biggs, his rival last week, had a cracking battle with Little Leach. If you missed that, go and check Himmler out, as is that rain I'm seeing here at the end of qualifying.
It is. I think it is. This could be the end of the fast laps. This could be our grid sorted unless someone can go very quickly on this last bit, but it is definitely raining at the top end of the circuit. So yes, that could be the end of this. This could be our quickest laps. Just quickly going back to last week, I was absolutely gutted that I couldn't be...
Sorry, Mazda's just gone pole with a 2:06.999. He's put it half a second quicker than unorthodox. And what a lap from the BMW driver.
What a lap indeed. That's a quick one. To go half a second than the front guys. Do you know what I mean? I mean, it's not... there's trading times, as we see Gary go a little bit wide. As I said, try not to hustle the car down through that bit. So that is a quick lap, and he might have got that in just in time, you know.
Big Boy Brazier's just improved as well, Kelly, into P2, but still 4 tenths behind Mazda. And you're right, you know, Mazda may have just done that lap at the right time. For those guys still on a lap, the track may still be dry at the moment, but for Orthodox here, who's at the beginning of his lap, not the end, by the time he gets to the chase, you see the spray already. Yeah. He's not going to gain as much here, Mazda in the pits, Big Boy Brazier in the pits, as is D Biggs, Peaceful's P5, Gary's in the pits in 7th. Ignore that Buzzy Boy at the bottom, obviously he's in the commentary box with us tonight, but excuse me, 14 guys. Sutty with a grid penalty will put him 10th, 5 seconds off the pace, and with the rain falling, that could potentially be the grid. What it gives the guys though, Kelly, is a chance here to maybe just tweak a bit of a wet setup if the rain's going to continue into the race.
I was just about to say that, Matt. If I was Mazda, Jamie, so on and so forth, I'd go back out. I'd want as much time in the wet conditions as I can get prior to this race. Because I reckon, I mean, look, we've got, who have we got? We've got Andy, we've got Welshie, and all those down there are 8-10 seconds off the ultimate pace. I don't think they've done much practice round here. You know, we know Andy has got this new theory that he doesn't practice anymore. He just rocks up and does stuff, you know? Yeah. But I think this is one of those tracks where you should have practiced. Do you know what I mean?
I agree with you. I think Bathurst Bathurst, a track that's very unforgiving, more than it is rewarding. It'll come back to bite you on the bum more than it will give you half a second as Mazda found, sort of thing. It's a track where if you're not going to get the laps in, you're going to struggle.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think it's a long track, by the average of most tracks being about 3 miles or whatever it is. This is longer, and at 23 turns, it's I think it's one of those that should be practiced, and I would love to know, if these top, I don't know, 5 or 6 have been practicing this or race it very, very regularly, and some of the other guys who should be a bit quicker. Have they not practiced? It'd be very interesting to know.
Excuse me. Indeed, it will. Liam, you drove this in the wetting race too. Conditions, how bad was they? How was it to drive around this track in the wet?
Driving around this track in the wet felt... I thought it was going to feel alright at the beginning, and coming near the end, middle end, it just started getting progressively worse.
Yeah. Any puddles for the drivers to watch out for?
When you get at the top of the hill, at top at Martin Hill, there's one just before you start on that little straight. Yeah. On top of the hill, there's one
by
there.
The gravel.
That's one I quite regularly hit.
Wasn't there one at the end of the Conrod Straight as well? So the long straight before you hit the chase, as I remember. Doesn't there a river kind of... we're on board with Peaceful here. Just as Peaceful's dropping down into the bottom here, I believe there's a river forms down the bottom there. Look, it's quite wet there where he's just come through the... Yeah, I think along here there's a river
if I remember rightly, last night, Liam, there was a big puddle at the last corner, if I'm right. Coming across the track, they looked like a big puddle formed towards the last corner. 2.5 minutes remaining in this one. Let's have a look. Yeah, you see it there. Look, you've just seen it forming when Peaceful was just coming up to it. Big puddle towards the last corner. Liam, Mazda's took an early pole here with the rains obviously put an end to people improving on the laps. Did you expect Mazda to get pole?
Not with the rain starting now, if I'm going to be honest.
Who's your tip for the race win? Kelly, I'll ask you the same question as well.
Yeah, I know already who I'm going to pick.
I would say maybe unorthodox, D-Bigs.
Yeah.
Yeah. To be fair, watching their Imola race in the wet last week at the first race of the night, them two looked really solid. Dan and D-Bigs looked solid in the wet, didn't they?
That was such a race, wasn't it? That was such. As I said, I was gutted last week that I wasn't commentating with you for.
Yeah, it was a shame we missed you.
Yeah, and I missed it. We know why. My game is on disc, and there's a Dirty Gate scratch through it, and for some reason, or for that reason, it won't load Imola any way you try it. So I couldn't be with you, but I sat and watched on the stream. Screaming at the TV, Dan and D-Bigs, what a race. If you haven't had an opportunity to see it, go back and re-watch that one. Race 1 at Imola was epic, and in the wet. So yeah, if you're going to ask me my tip, well, my money's on the boy. Do you know what I mean? It's on Daniel. On Orthodubs. He knows the track, he picked the track, he likes it, and it's going to be wet.
Hulty and Rabbit Joe in the chat both said that the last corner was a big puddle. You hit it, sends you off a bit wide. Rabbit Joe says it made the last corner really hard to turn properly and get through. So these boys who's not sat in the pits are really getting the chance here to get some wet running in.
Yeah.
Not always Big Boy Brazier.
Yeah,
badly
just
puts it in
so
the
easy.
wall, and it is so easy. And I feel this Lamborghini here. I was commentating with Andy last night, and he said the Lamborghini will be strong around this track. And as much as I agreed with him at times, for me, every time I've seen the Lamborghini, it looked twitchy.
Again, Matt, I as far as I'm concerned, I think this one's about the driver. I really do. I think the difference is made with the driver and not with the car on this one. It's a race like, we've all done lots of mileage around Spa, around Monza, around so on and so forth. But a lot of people haven't done the mileage around here. And going back to what I said earlier, it's a long track, and it's. I think it's going to be about the driver tonight. I really do.
No, I completely agree with you. Look at this puddle into the final corner. That's the puddle that, when you see it, that has really hurt Big Boy Brazier, who goes back to the pits.
Yeah.
Qualifying is complete, so we are just waiting for drivers to finish their current laps or just finish the last bit of testing. Unorthodox D Biggs, like you said, what a heck of a battle. What was the laps last week? Can't remember how many laps it was, but it was every lap until the final corner of the penultimate lap. Going on to the final lap, that Dan and D Biggs was within a second of each other. It didn't matter which way round it was a great battle. There was great battles up and down the grid. Mazda and Brazier had a great fight, great battles with Sutty and Little Each. Gary had problems. It was just such an interesting race. Let's hope for more of that tonight, because I tell you now, this could be as much the same. Guys, 14 people watching the stream, get them likes and subscriptions in. Comment in the chat as well who you think is going to take the race win in this one. We've seen last season, Liam, the BMW struggle. Given the circuit and the nature of the track being tight, do you think this helps Mazda tonight if he can get a good start?
I think with the rain and seeing the BMW in the wet in the past, I have a feeling he could have a couple spins. Hopefully not, but with the BMW being how it is in the wet from what we've seen, I think it's quite possible.
Indeed, the BMW not enjoying the wet for those who missed last season. Kelly, obviously, I wasn't around last year. The BMW didn't. Yep. Mazda seemed to excel in the dry or in drying conditions, but the minute it was wet, didn't seem to get the best out of his BMW. Obviously, full setups allowed for this year. As Mazda then takes the pole position. Ricky Holt, aka Holty, says Mazda for the win. So Mazda takes pole position in what is his first pole position since being promoted to the Pro Group, since he's come back from his change of shifts. So good timing to get that one in such a crucial race. Big Boy Brazier half a second behind him, with an Orthodubs not far off the back of Big Boy Brazier. This is where it gets tight. On Orthodubs third, D Biggs fourth again, tight between the two. Peaceful fifth, not only a tenth off the, only half a tenth in fact off the back of an Orthodubs. And then you sort of drop back half a second to Emo Guy. Gary in 7th place with Phil in 8th. Sutty Apex 9th, but he has that grid penalty, don't forget, so he'll start P10 and Little Each will be promoted to P9. Andy in 11th place with Keegs 12th, Deeks 13th and Welshie in P14. So all up and down the grid. 10 seconds separates Welshie to Mazda, but obviously it's who's been the braver, who's tested more in the week. Like Kelly said, it's all about who's tested that little bit more this week, he feels, around this circuit. The rain clearly still here. Liam's retired from the race obviously to do commentary duties, so ignore his car glitching in the background. That will sort itself out. Pit window lap 3. Drivers are allowed to use the reset button on the downhill section of the circuit for obviously obvious reasons. If it's that tight, they will be allowed to use the reset button on the downhill section of the circuit. Pit window lap 3, and obviously we say to all drivers, if you are listening, just be careful going into turn 1 obviously and around the rest of the circuit. We don't want any silly dive bombs. But Big Boy Brazier front row of the grid, what can he do, Kelly?
Well, yeah, again, we know what Jamie's saying earlier. We know Jamie is quick, but he is prone to mistakes. D Big's right in there as well, isn't he, in 4th place? And just going back to the race that him and Dan had last week, they're evenly matched. I really do hope this race delivers what I want it to, because if so, don't get up, don't get off your sofa, don't go anywhere, because if it does, this will be a cracker.
No, carry on.
This could be a cracker for sure. You know, it's there's so many variables to this one that we could have a real cracker on our hands.
And obviously 14 drivers, meaning that for qualifying 2, 14 drivers start the race. For qualifying 2, 7 drivers, the top 7 will not be able to qualify. For those who are new to the channel and new to watching, evening, if you are new, great to have you here, pleasure. Do subscribe to the channel and leave a thumbs up on the video. So let's hear it from you in the commentary box then, as we're all synced up and we look like we're ready to go. Lights are on for a few of the cars down the field, and the revs start to rise now. And we're green at Mount Panorama, Bathurst, and look at a few of the cars getting a bit slidey. Emo Guy, one of them. D-Biggs in the orthodox in on each other already. Oh, and Gary's been caught up with Phil and Sooty, and Dan has big damage to the back of his car already. Mazda's BMW did not get off the line, but Dan already in big trouble, as is Gary 131. Who is that as well? Sooty and Phil in big trouble as well, but Big Boy Brazier leads away from Emo Guy from D-Biggs, who's side by side with Mazda, but Dan will already be struggling with that damage on the rear of that car. And look at the Porsche and BMW just battling for third, side by side as they come into this section. Mazda backs out of that one, and I've got a feeling we may see Dan dropping down the order. He's lost out to Little Eats. No rear spoiler on that car, and a bit of a chaotic turn one there. They all just seem to get glued together.
Yes, indeed, they did. And, yeah, I was expecting some action. I was hoping they were going to get off the grid before that happened. I don't think he got a penalty, but Peaceful looked like he moved before the lights went. To me, somebody moved. I thought it was Peaceful, but no penalties by the looks of it. So, but yeah, I think Dan has got a smashed up. Oh, look, he goes sideways again. He can struggle with that car.
He's going to have a big 100 damage on the rear, 100 maximum damage on the rear of that car. So it's really going to be hurting Dan's pace here. And he's going to have to make an early pit stop. So not what Dan would have wanted. But he could come through the field. The other three who may have big damage as well is the three at the back. Gary, Phil and Sooty got caught up in this drama as well. So what's their damage going to be like? Gary's doesn't look too bad at the minute ahead of Phil and Sooty. Oh, and there's a Lamborghini facing the wrong way. That is Welshie then at the mountain, just facing the wrong way. Sooty a long way off the back of these guys. With Phil though, no rear spoiler, so surely you think that the Run Flat Racing team will pull Phil in before they pull Gary, and that's Keegs having a moment. And Gary now with Big Boy Brazier leading this race. Kelly, is he seeing his championship defence slip away from him slightly here in race one? Although Emo Guy all over the back of Jamie Brazier. And Jamie's off.
Yeah.
Oh, that looks like leg to me. I'm not sure if he's hit a puddle, but Emo Guy definitely didn't make contact there on the stream. It didn't look like so. Emo Guy then leads this race, but D-Biggs, he's having a look. He's coming at him, and look at our man. We say it every week. He's going to do well at one stage. He's on the back of Mazda for a P3 here, but here comes D-Biggs down in towards turn one. Oh, Dan is in the pits, and there's Andy round. He's caught Little Each in the background. Little Each got caught up in that one. Dan then into the pits. He's made it back, so he pits at the end of lap one. Mandatory pit stop done. Who else is in? Keegs is also in, as is Gary 131. Into the pits. I'm expecting Phil in as well. Yep, Phil comes in as well. So Sooty's going to have to do another lap. Well down the order. Welshie can come in the pits. Will we see Welshie? And it's all drama here.
Yeah, I said it would be, didn't I?
Yeah.
I said it would be, yeah, absolutely. And it's exactly what I was expecting. Lots of guys struggling with this, the wet, the rear-wheel drive cars, the nature of the circuit. It's, yeah, you know, and where did Jamie hang up? He's 7th. Jamie's ended up. So just as you were talking, Matt, about Gary's championship slipping away, it all goes wrong for Jamie, so it does. Still to play for.
Emo Guy clouted the wall there, as you see. D-Biggs just dropping off the back ever so slightly to give himself a bit of breathing space. Mazda's not far off the back of this with Peaceful on him, but he's again just backed off on board with D-Biggs. You see him hassling Emo Guy, and then through the mountain he's dropped off. This Porsche looks a bit better through here than what the Lamborghini does. Oh, and Emo Guy's clipped the wall again. The Porsche looks a lot more ease through this part of the circuit, compared to what the Lamborghini does. Is he's trying to keep it close to the wall. Oh, and he's round. He's spun, and is he going to catch Mazda? No, Mazda gets through. D-Biggs now moves. Oh, and Peaceful's caught him. Oh, he should have stayed still and waited for Peaceful to come by. And Peaceful does collect D-Biggs. D-Biggs now down to P4, and it's Deeks behind, who could have now an opportunity to gain on the back, on board with Deeks. Liam, what do you make to this opening 2 laps?
Astonishing, to be fair. Lots of action.
Look,
astonishing. I like that word.
Sorry to cut you off, Liam. Big Boy Brazier in the background, a bit laggy behind Deeks, doesn't know which way to go, but he's having a look at him down towards the chase, in towards the chicane. Big Boy Brazier just drives past Deeks, so much confidence compared to Deeks. D-Biggs, no rear spoiler on the back of his car, so big damage. What a shame as well, because he was running on the back of Emo Guy, and he's now got to pit at the end of that too. Here, and Jamie then back into P4.
Yes, indeed. And these guys, the rest of the guys are on their way, yes, as we can see. Daniel, after his pit stop, Did Andy have a pit stop? I can't remember if he did or
Andy
not.
had a spin at the end of the last lap, if you remember.
Yeah. And Gary as well. See all these guys now.
Well, is that Welshie? Yeah, that's Welshie, who's got even more damage on the back of that car. Didn't pit last time around. Tried to defend from Gary, but Gary's now got through. Little Leach has come into the pits. So as he got damage on that car as well, Craig in, so the Leach brothers. But oh, look at that. Big damage. I tell you what, the Porsche dealership, they've got to get the wallets out again here, Kelly, tonight, because they've got a lot of damage. Andy as well has come into the pits. So this is all helping Gary out in terms of keeping that momentum going forward and keeping the pressure on Big Boy Brazier. But at the minute, he's 43 seconds off the race lead. This man Mazda's kind of in no man's land due to D-Big spinning. Oh, he clouts the wall there. He's really pushing that BMW.
Yes, he is as well, and on the gravel there as well. So we can see that Mazda is pushing hard. He wants that win. And I'd want this one, wouldn't you? Do you know what I mean, round here?
It's one of the special ones, isn't it? You take it like you'd want
like
Monaco.
Isn't it?
Yeah,
totally, absolutely. So it's definitely one of those special ones, and we can just see the back end of the rooster tail dropping away from us. As there he is. There's Emo Guy in front. So that's what Mazda's got his sights set on. Is that ball of spray in front of him? Is it me, or is it like it's drying up a little bit?
It does look a bit brighter, doesn't it? But you still see the rain falling. Yeah, you still see the rain falling here then. Welsh and Andy still in the pits, so these guys could be a lap down by the end of this lap. Peaceful Explosion has now got work to do to get back on. Does he have a bit of front-end damage on his car? He may have, after giving that Porsche Big Boy, D-Big, a bit of a wallop coming through. And for D-Big's there, he pulled out the way. Was he more sensible to stay where he was? I suppose the admins will have to have a look at that one after this race. Sutty, after his disastrous lap one last, is up to P5. So what an opening lap for Sutty Apex.
There we go, and that's the way the cookie crumbles, isn't it? From zero to hero or hero to zero, whichever way you look at it, it can all change ever so quickly round here, as we know. So, and again, after end of lap one, Daniel was in real trouble, wasn't he? Now he's in 7th. Yes, he's 39 seconds off the lead, but he's done his pit.
Yeah.
That's all done and dusted, and he's in 7th. Do you know what I mean? So, considering where he was, I mean, he would have been cursing after the first couple of corners with his car all smashed up, but he's moving forward again now. So, again, Sooty, Unorthodox, all these guys, we've got to keep a look at these and see how they progress through the order for sure.
Becca in the chat says good luck to Emo Guy. Well, he's doing well so far, but he's slightly being caught by Mazda as Peaceful just slides onto the wall a little bit there, and he's just starting to drop off. You see that front left of that car looks like where he's hit D-Biggs. It looks just lifted a little bit on the bodywork to me, but we'll have to see how he goes about it. He's trying to keep it off the walls. You've got to be so careful around here. The bonus Peaceful's got is he's in the Mercedes, probably the best car for the straight lines with its power and its oomph to pull away from the cars behind. And when you're on the mountain section, it's quite easy to keep the cars behind you, provided you don't do that.
Oh, Peaceful, hold on to it.
Always hit the wall hard again there. Maybe a box this lap for Peaceful Explosion. What will he do? We'll have to wait and see. But clearly struggling since he made contact with D-Biggs, who's down in P10 at the moment. Gary's up into the top 10 now, right on the back and hassling Keegs, it looks like on the timing screens. Deeks then up into P6. Another good start for Deeks. Here is Gary 131 on board him, and he's going to find it hard to pass Keegs here as Keegs, he does well not to put that one in the wall. And Gary just easing off the back of Keegs here, giving Keegs that space. He doesn't want to make the move up the hill, and he doesn't want, if Keegan makes the mistake, for him to get caught up in a collision with him.
He certainly doesn't want to be involved here. He wants to be close, but not deep right behind him, right up on the gearbox. We want to be able to see where he's going, especially down to come down. That's it. There we go.
For that reason, he wants to be just a bit behind him and not right up his rear end as Keegs loses the back end of the car. D-Biggs has also got through, and Gary now up into P8 after a first lap pit stop for himself, and he's still got work to do. He is, looking at the timing screens, he's about 30 seconds behind Big Boy Brazier. Big Boy Brazier, don't forget, will still have to pit in this race. We'll have to see what he can do.
In the pits.
Oh, Peaceful is in the pits.
Yeah.
So clearly suffering with damage.
I was going to say, before for Gary that he wanted to stay right behind him and then tuck in behind him on the chase and on the Conrod straight down to the chase and do him there. But as it happened, it all unfolded for him. As we're now on board with Mazda, who's reeling Emo Guy in, you know.
He is.
He's getting closer and closer. And,
1.3 quicker last lap, Kelly, was Mazda over Emo Guy, and he's at the minute doing the business. What he needs to do, he is doing just that. Emo Guy, we've seen him clip the walls a bit earlier. That looks like he's got close to the wall there as well. Whether he touched it or not, I'm not sure. You hear Mazda in the BMW giving it a big old lift coming through that corner. Gary's got past Peaceful, so Gary's jumped Peaceful in the pits. Peaceful obviously having damage. If Big Boy Brazier has damage, could Gary jump him? Gary up into P7, so what a start for Gary after his first lap shenanigans. Emo Guy against the wall, and Mazda's right on his tail now. Does that BMW have the straight line speed over the Lamborghini down the Conrod Straight? I don't think it does.
Well, we're about to find out if he can keep it all together. I think Mazda is looking quicker than Emo Guy at the moment. Emo Guy's obviously struggling with this car. I'll be surprised, Matt, if not everybody has some sort of damage this evening. It's just so incredibly difficult not to keep this to keep these cars out of the wall. And I think everyone is going to suffer some damage tonight.
Yeah, I completely agree with you there. Has the rain stopped? No, still falling. You can just see it on the outside of the spray. The rain's still falling in Emo Guy. Bit of lag. That was a bit of lag. More than him running wide. It was a bit of lag that cost him. What we're going to see tonight is... We've obviously only 9 runners in the Pro-Am last night, Liam. The track didn't stay as dry for as long, whereas for these guys, it looks like it's drying up a bit. And just before I come to you, Emo Guy looked like he ran a bit deep into that final corner. And here comes Mazda to have a look at him. Down into turn 1, he pulls out now. And is he going to look up the inside? No, he thinks better of it. Liam, with the 14 guys on track, the track's going to stay dry again. No, bit of lag. Sorry, I'm trying to come to you, but everything keeps happening. The track's obviously going to stay a bit drier. The puddle's not form as much with 14 cars going around this track. These guys aren't going to face the same kind of race as you felt. Do you feel that that's the way it's going at the minute? They don't look to be as many puddles about.
No, it looks like it could be fairly more drier than what it was last night, if that's what you're getting at.
Yep.
Yeah, with the more cars on track, you've obviously got your track getting warmer, your puddles won't... Well...
Emo Guy, sorry Liam, Emo Guy's just ploughed into the wall, and Kelly Andy's in the pits for a 3rd time.
Oh no, poor old Andy's having an absolute shocker. I was going to have a look at unorthodox, look at Dan's lap times. He's the only man in the 2:16. He is absolutely flying. He's just put a move on Diggs just a few minutes ago, and is absolutely flying. So don't count him out of this one.
The closest men to him in terms of lap time is Mazda and Gary. Then Gary has 2:17.3, Mazda 2:17.5. As Peaceful, he's back in the pits again. His luck has gone from bad to worse, and poor old Peaceful explosion in the pits once more. Looking at the Lamborghinis, then a 2:18, a 2:21. The Lamborghinis don't seem to have the pace at the moment. Big Boy Brazier, Emo Guy and Sutty. The unorthodox Gary and Mazda have in them Porsches and BMWs. So at the minute, that BMW and Porsche seems to be the cars to be in this wet weather.
Yes, indeed.
As Dan board Mazda down the walk towards the Conrod Straight here. He's in that tone. He's patiently waiting here, and he's playing a very, very clever game with Emo Guy. Patiently waiting for Ian to make the mistake. As that's possibly lag. It was a bit, but he looks like he's ran wide either way because he's very, very slow through there, and Mazda's going to have the run, but Emo Guy's cleverly kept it to the inside and will be on the inside then as we come down towards the final corner. Mazda on the brakes a bit earlier. Does Ian run a bit deep? He has a little bit, has to get it turned in and does, but has Mazda done just enough? He's side by side, is he? Does the Lamborghini have enough in the straight? Mazda comes down towards turn 1, later on the brakes. Is he going to go for the lead? He does here and takes the lead of this race. Mazda, 917 leads. He was on pole, got pipped at the start, and he's back in front as we're at the halfway stage of this race.
Nice move. Took his time, waited for the right opportunity, made it stick. Emo Guys are trying to come back at him now. I think he's going to struggle going up the mountain, but Emo Guys certainly trying to.
They've touched. Oh, where's Mazda? Mazda's round.
Mazda's gone round.
Oh, huge incident there. They touch side by side. Oh, what a shame. Yeah. What a shame, because we've been robbed of a battle here. Ian into the wall as well. And on board with Unorthodox, who's on the back of Sooty Apex now. He is charging.
Absolutely charging. He is absolutely flying. I mean, that's put Mazda back now 7 seconds behind Emo Guy. Unfortunately, we didn't quite see what was happening there, but it looked it looked like Ian was being quite enthusiastic at going round where he went round, where he was trying to overtake. So would have been nice to see another angle of that one, but we won't have that opportunity, unfortunately. But yeah, don't know if that was
down here.
Anyway.
Kelly,
Yeah,
just watching Dan. He's getting onto the back of Sooty Apex here, and he'll want to get his move done sooner rather than later, because again, the further up the mountain you go, the less you want to overtake. As Sooty just clips the wall, has the mistake, and he's allowed Dan up the inside and through into P4 goes Unorthodox. And I was saying he had to be careful. He'd backed off a bit from Sooty Apex, and Sooty made the mistake, and through goes Dan. Andy looks like he's unlapping himself from Sooty Apex. Sooty didn't seem to make that one too hard for Andy there. Sooty a couple of seconds off the front runner's pace. Is he carrying damage? Come on, Jamie, says Kelly. Yikes, that was a large that was the lag or bad move, says G, presuming that's on Emo Guy's one. But Unorthodox here up into P4 in the front three having to pit. Mazda's now 2 seconds ahead of Jamie Brazier. He's 16 seconds off of Emo Guy. What kind of damage has Mazda suffered, and is he going to pull it into the pits this lap, do we think?
Where is he on track? Oh yeah, he's just coming through the chase, isn't he? Yeah, let's see if he dives into the pits on this one.
I think he's going to. No, he doesn't.
It looked like he was, didn't look like major damage when he had that spin, but he was certainly pointing in the wrong direction. It's 15 seconds now off Emo Guy, so he's got an awful lot to do. But again, it can all turn round. And Emo Guy could turn it round, and it would be all change again. But Dan, I mean, these three now, Big Boy Brazier just not far behind Mazda. I don't think Jamie's going to have the pace to bother Mazda, to be fair. But these two in close company. Then you go back, you've got about 15 seconds till you get to Unorthodox, and then back another 10 after that till you get to Gary. So quite a lot of spread at the moment. Although saying that, there's a few
Deeks and D Biggs, they're quite close together, and Little Each and Keegs also on track quite close together. Sooty's in the pits, so he's dropping down the order at the moment. Gary has got past Deeks and he's up into P5, and like you say, he's 10 seconds off the back of Unorthodox. The problem is he's matching Unorthodox's pace. What they are both doing though is catching Big Boy Brazier. Is Big Boy Brazier being patient, or is that his ultimate pace in the wet? We're not sure. Little Each here trying to get on the back of Keegs. They both have got past Sooty Apex. Here comes Sooty's teammate Phil down the start straight. Will he get past? Here is Deeks, as D Biggs has got past him then. And is he going to look for another way through? Deeks not yet been in the pits according to my book. Neither is Emo Guy, Mazda and Big Boy Brazier. So Big Boy Brazier still to pit. I think he'll come out behind Gary, if you ask me.
I think you're probably right. I think the more we go on, it does look like the Porsches are better in these conditions. As Deeks
that might be why.
Yeah, just lost his spoiler, just bounced it off the wall. As he bounces off the wall again, so easy to do around here. I know I keep saying it, but it's so incredible. And once you start to, once you make one mistake, then they come thick and fast, one after another.
It's like a domino effect, isn't it?
Totally.
A bit of pinball as well. You seem to hit one wall, then hit the other, and you're back and forth and back and forth. And Little Each here has just dropped off the back of Keegs a little bit. Liam, was it like that last night? Bit of a pinball effect bouncing off the walls?
Definitely, especially going down the mountain. Not as much going up, but definitely going down it.
Emo Guy then 12 seconds out in the lead, but was ultimately 2 seconds slower than Master last lap. And here we find out if Gary and Dan have enough to get in front of Jamie Brazier, as Jamie Brazier comes into the pits at the end of lap 8, and in he comes now. So keep your eyes out in the background for Unorthodox and Gary. In fact, there is you won't see Unorthodox in the background because he's already come through. Here's Gary 131. I think Gary looks like he'll have him here, Kelly, as well.
Yeah, I think he will.
Because Jamie, is he away? We'll find out in a moment as the camera pans out. Oh, he's away, but not much.
He's away.
Well away. Was he crabbing there in the pits?
It didn't look brilliant, didn't it?
Has he lit the rears up and spun and got some suspension damage? How heartbreaking that would be if he has. Becca, how many laps in these races? 14 laps in the 2 races, and Becca for the second race, the top 7 finishes, cannot qualify for race 2. Bethany Ann Duffin, Hale, come on Gary. I can't look over my shoulder to see a disappointment tonight. Oh, and there is a spinning sooty apex. Round he goes down to P11. He's going to be well in front of peaceful P12. What could have been for him? Deeks comes in for his stop at the end of lap 8, so Sooty should get back up into that top 10 after he passes Deeks in the pits. Little Leach still can't find a way past Keegs.
Yes, indeed. Sorry, I was just I refreshed my chat because I didn't have half the messages. So
I was just about to say, Kelly, I've got to catch my breath here in the mid-session break because it's been all go. It's been frantic.
What did I say? What did I tell you?
No, you did. You did.
Yeah.
You did.
And
Dan, again, just look at Dan's last lap time, 1:16.1, as Keegs has just clipped the wall, and here comes Little Leach. Oh, as we just cut to Dan, can we get back to the Little Leach one? I think he's got the job done on the timing screens. No, Keegs still fighting this one back as they come into that double apex left-hander, and Little Leach hanging it around the outside, and what a brave move, and job done for Little Leach. What a drive, what a manoeuvre around the outside. That was fantastic stuff from Craig, and he's done absolute bits there to get back in front of Keegs, and that's P7 for him ultimately on track. But for Dan, 1:16.1, what race pace.
Yes, indeed. And they're screaming and shouting, certainly G is, about pitting for fuel. So G seems to think that that Dan is light on fuel and why he's so quick. So we'll see. Little Leach was going quite slowly through there. I don't know if he had a bit of... Oh, no, we haven't got slowdowns on the pros, have we? So... it's by their own discretion.
Oh, look at that. I say Dan did a 2:16.1. He's done a 2:15.1. Dan is flying.
Absolutely ripping it up, he is. A 2:15 in the damp conditions. We know Dan is the Rainmeister for certain sure because he's done it time and time again. His couple of wins in Simplay have
both been in the wet.
Been wet once in the Porsche, so he knows his way around in the wet. He knows his way around this track. He's 21 seconds off the lead with 4 laps to go.
And the leaders have to, both the leaders have to pit though, Kelly.
True, yes.
Race win could be on, and let's not forget, Emo Guy's hit the wall several times, and Mazda. Mazda's also been hit by Emo Guy and the wall. Damage maybe to repair?
Yeah, possibly, absolutely. So let's hope that Daniel isn't really low on fuel, like it's been said on the chat.
I don't quite get what G's saying. G's saying now that Dan is cheating. Stop cheating, Dan. I don't see how Dan's cheating because he's doing a stellar job at the moment. And I know Dan will be streaming this. Make sure you go and check out on Orthodubs' YouTube channel. Go and drop him a like because there is a back marker. Is that Welshie or is that Deeks? Not quite sure. Either way, rear wing's gone.
Yeah, didn't mess with Daniel's progress though. So
no, they've got to get to lap 9 here to score points, Kelly, in this race. And Dan here is absolutely on a machine. Like you say, he took 2 wins in the wet here. Bruno in season 1 and Imola race 1 last week in the wet. And he can start to see Mazda, who's only 4.5 seconds up the road. So when Mazda pits, Dan's definitely going to have Mazda here. What a drive this Porsche man has done. Let's not forget lap 1, big rear damage.
Yes, indeed. And
Gary!
Gone round.
Oh no, Gary 131 was ahead of Big Boy Brazier and now is sat behind him. D Biggs will be coming round soon, so poor old Gary 131 was ahead of his title rival. He's now the place behind him and has gifted him a 4th place at the moment. Keegs still trying to keep up with Little Each. He's got Phil not far off the back of these two as well. So Phil just a couple of seconds behind, trying to make another place at Keegs. Oh, he's had a big spin. Oh, and that's huge damage. Huge damage to the back of that Lamborghini then for Keegan Walsh. Andy's trying to unlap himself from Phil. He's not going to do it round here. In fact, he backs out there, you see. And Phil backs off from Keegs as well. He sees Keegs got a rear wing missing. Is Keegs pulling over to allow them both through? Well, he's allowed Phil through. Yeah. And then by the time I think he was trying to let Andy through, who's at the corner, he's going to stay. Oh, I thought he was going to stay there. He does stay there. And Andy goes past Keegs to unlap himself. Now, if Keegs goes into the pits, that could be a very lengthy pit stop. And Andy could get past Keegs here. Keegs could lose several positions. But Gary there again. We've seen Gary time after time spin this season, and he's lost another place. This time, though, crucially, to his championship rival.
Yes, indeed. And if Sooty had hands to spare to take off his pad, he would have been rubbing them, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
Because to see Gary go round, and the championship is now up for grabs. So it's chop and change, isn't it? Chop and change.
Very chop and change. Very chop and change at the minute. Keegs is going to stay out here as well. She's about to unlap himself as well.
Wow.
So Keegs with 100% rear damage, it looks like. There's no spoiler, and normally when there's no spoiler, there's a lot of damage on the rear of that car, let me tell you. Deciding to stay out then. So Phil up into P8. Little Each under no more pressure from Keegs for P7. And Gary 131 has got to do something. That is Deeks, who's let Gary through again. No spoiler on the back of that Lamborghini. The Lamborghinis are having a torrid time. The Lamborghinis currently sit first, and then it's 8th, 9th, 10th, 12th, 13th and 14th. So it shows how it's testament to how well Emo Guy is doing in this race. Dan's just dropped off the pace a little bit as Emo Guy comes in at the end of lap 11.
So we'll see how we get on with these pit stops. He's one of the Lamborghinis that doesn't need a rear spoiler. The composites department
very
at
quick.
Lamborghini, yes, indeed. The composites department at Lamborghini will be going flat out to replace all these rear spoilers. So quick stop. Although Ian's been bouncing off the walls quite a lot, he's managed to keep the car in pretty good shape.
Clearly feels that the damage doesn't need repairing then, and Mazda in the background still yet to pit, hasn't even got past Emo Guy. So if Dan's going to win this, he's got to reel in at 5 seconds from Emo Guy, and he's in the 216s again. That could be doable, you know, in the 3 laps we've got left here. We've still got to wait for Mazda, the only guy who hasn't pitted yet. And Liam, want to pick your brain. Lamborghini seeming to be struggling. Porsche though seem to be the car to be in. Would you agree?
Oh, definitely.
What do you make to Mazda in the BMW tonight? He's done better than we thought in the rain, I think.
Oh yeah, definite. As I said at the beginning of the race, I didn't think it was gonna play out well with BMW in the rain, but from, if I'm right, one crash which was with Emo Guy.
Yeah.
Except from that, he's done quite well.
He has done really well. But what he's got here is a fight he doesn't need. And Kelly, let me put you in the shoes of Mazda at the minute. As we've had a retirement, Deeks has retired from the race. He will score points in that one, so he'll get 14th place. Unfortunately, he's retired from this one. If you're Mazda, do you let Dan go? You know you've got to pit. You're not racing him. What do you do here?
He's not racing him for the championship. Although they're all racers, aren't they? Do you know what I mean? Mazda's come in late. He hasn't come in to make up the numbers, has he? He's come in to compete. He's come in late. He hasn't really got a shot at the championship, but he wants race wins, you know? Emo Guy's only 5 seconds down the road at the moment. Mazda's got another pit to do. It's a tough one, isn't it? We'll see when Mazda pits. It's either going to be this lap or the next one, so it's almost immaterial, isn't it? Daniel's not quite climbing over the back of him just yet. You know?
No, he's not. He's not. Will we see Daniel get on the back of Emo Guy? That is the big question as well. He has the pace to get on him, but will he do it with 2 laps to go? Is Mazda going to dive into the pits this time around? He's staying left. He's staying left. He comes in. So Mazda into the pits at the end of lap 12. And for Emo Guy, then he's about to start lap 13 for an Orthodubs. He now knows he's got a charge. He's got 5 seconds, 5 crucial seconds. He sees Ian in front of him. 5 crucial seconds to go. Now let's keep an eye on Mazda here. Where is Mazda going to feed out on circuit? Will we see Big Boy Brazier get past him onto the podium? Will Gary get past and claim a P4? Obviously big points on offer. There is Mazda. There's Jamie in the background. Not the longest of pit lanes, but I think look, he's going to get it done. Where's Gary then next? Gary, the crucial one. No, he's not going to get that one. No, he's struggling with that, it looks like. Mazda then slowly trundles out the pits, and away he goes now. He's quite a way behind Big Boy Brazier as well. So Big Boy Brazier, job done. Mazda's got 4 seconds to make up if he's to catch him. I don't think you're Jamie Brazier in the 2:16s last lap, so heck of a lap that for Jamie Brazier. You see the time between Unorthodox and Emo Guy. It's dropping. It's coming down.
Yes, indeed. Dan on a charge. I'm reluctant to go on board with him. I really am, because I don't want to see this all go wrong, but I also want to see the action, because Dan is absolutely flying around this Bathurst track. He's the man who picked it.
Jamie Brazier in the 216s. D Biggs in the 216s now as well. Could he get Gary by the end of this race? P6 for P5 as Gary didn't get Mazda. Now the problem is as well for Gary, Big Boy Brazier is on the podium, meaning that Gary's going to lose out even more points here. What is going to play out here then? Can Gary get on the back of Mazda? Only 5 seconds between the two of them. But he's got to be mindful of D Biggs catching as well. 5 seconds off the back of Gary, so Gary will not want another mistake or two if he is to got stuck in the wall for over 20 seconds waiting for cars to pass. Says Deeks on a text message, and it auto-retired him. Oh, that's a shame. Come on, Emo, you're doing amazing, says Becker. Oh, as he's on the grass.
Gary's gone wide.
Gary, that's Emo guy.
Ian got wide. Ian went very wide. So look in the background.
Yeah.
Here he comes.
So one lap, 3 seconds.
I think this is a climb too far or a mountain too high.
Well,
unless Ian has another excursion across the grass, then I don't know. It's a tough one, isn't it?
It's going to be interesting to see how this one plays out. Ian obviously clearly may have damage that he didn't repair in the pits. Dan in the 2-minute 13s last lap. What a stellar lap from Dan. Dan is pushing the limits to that BMW as far as he can take it. And I tell you what,
some boy. Where does he get it from?
Oh, Andy, that's Andy. They've just put a lap on.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Pure pace, Kelly, pure pace. That was Andy. They've just put a lap on. He's got no front end of his Lamborghini. And here is Mazda. He's been passed by Gary, so has Mazda made another mistake? Because Gary is now up into P4. Mazda's having a look, but that gap is already there. So Gary then up into 4th place. And Mazda's going to have D-Biggs on the back of him soon and shortly. But the battle out front is now 1.9 seconds as they're heading to the top of the mountain. They're going to start to come downhill, and Ian needs to make sure everything is inch perfect now. One mistake and Dan will be on him as quick as you can blink. Put it that way. The number 666 Lamborghini has drove an absolute great race. He had that one instance with Mazda. Oh, Dan! Dan, he's made a mistake. And is that the race win taken away from him? And it looks like now, barring any more disasters, that Emo Guy will take the win. And I do believe his first win here at Simplay.
Yeah, I reckon that's the end of it. Dan just got a little bit greedy at the top of the mountain.
Yeah.
Got up on the gravel, and that's the end of it, really. As you can see, looks like he's just broke his pace a little bit, and maybe eased off. I mean, absolute cracking pace from Daniel.
Great
certainly,
pace.
Certainly for the race one, and I know I'm biased, but certainly for the race one, he's going to be my driver of the day.
What a job, though, Emo Guy.
Yeah.
He's done a fantastic job as well.
Yes,
She's got past Andy. That is Keegs that he's about to put a lap on then. Keegs down in P11, still didn't pit for that damage. So clearly struggling. And will he let the race leader through? Should do. Yeah, it's going to keep to one side, I imagine. Emo Guy's flashing him. And Keegs does let Emo Guy through. And one Scotsman passes another, puts a lap on him. Oh, a bit of lag. Oh, he has gone deep and clipped the wall, but it's not going to matter though. It's going to be Emo Guy who takes the first win of the evening tonight. Second round to come in just a moment. Unorthodox will take a P2. Great drive from him. Big Boy Brazier. Oh, he's got damage on the rear. And how lucky it's the last lap, because that could have been very costly. And Gary would be right past him.
Yeah.
But, huge damage to Big Boy Brazier. He's got one corner to make sure he gets round.
Nice and tentative going round there.
Yeah.
It's Jamie. He knows he's got 10 seconds on Gary. Just get it across the line and on the podium. Big damage on the back of that car, but makes it across the line to take that last podium position.
He
Gary,
does.
Good recovery drive from Gary, don't you think?
Yeah, great recovery drive. To say he had 100% damage on that car in the first lap. He's drove brilliantly to get back to P4. Could have been third, don't forget, had he not spun Mazda. What could have been for him, apart from a little incident with the Emo Guy. That dropped him off. D-Biggs, another solid performance.
Very solid,
bar the incident with Peaceful Explosion when he pulled out. Great drive from him for a P6. Phil going to take a 7th. We've not seen Phil this high for some time, bless him. He's been unlucky this season and got caught up in a lap 1 incident again. So everybody below Phil can qualify for race 2. Phil 6 seconds up the road. Oh, he's got past Little Each somewhere actually, and we've had Andy has retired from the race on the final lap, so Andy will score points for 13th place as he retires on the final lap. Phil will cross the line in P7 then. Little Each is going to get P8.
Yes, indeed. And
where is Little Leach? He's there coming through the final. Oh, he's
another
got
one with no spoiler.
another one with no spoilers. So big damage. Good job. He's not got another lap because our boy Peaceful would have been on the back of him as well. And Peaceful Explosion, what rotten luck, was running so well early doors, and then got caught up with D Biggs, and that just kind of unravelled his pace. But Peaceful,
one day he'll have his day, won't he?
Yeah, hopefully so. Peaceful crosses the line in P9. Sooty Apex. Dismal race for Sooty here. P10 for him again. Another one, Kelly, with no rear spoiler. And Keegs has already finished the race in P11, a lap down. Has he? I believe he has.
No, he looks like he's still on a lap by the looks of it.
Oh, Emo Guy lapped him.
Oh.
No, he must have still been on a lap. But either way, Keegs will finish in P11. So more points for the team. But your race winner, Emo Guy, Unorthodox, takes the fastest lap of the race. So what a job he did in the 2 minute 13s. We're going to be right back after a short break with the interviews from the top 3 drivers, and we'll be back for qualifying 2. So guys, don't go anywhere. We'll be back shortly.
You're the night sky trying to make me see your stars, but the dark gets lonely. Now I see violet, I can feel silence, and the dark's all that I see. When your stars are burnt out and your heart makes no sound, I'll find violet in your eyes. You'll always be my night sky. I just realized I've built walls a mile high to protect my heart, but now I'm all alone, stuck on the inside. The heart doesn't need a castle, it needs a bridge. Been so scared that I'd unravel. Brick by brick, I built these walls. Now I know that I am strong. Just watch me tear them down. I'm gonna tear them down. If it couldn't break your heart, is it really love? If it can't tear you apart, is it really love? Just watch me march towards the battle. I'm gonna tear down this castle. I'm gonna tear down this castle. I'm gonna tear down this castle. Watch me march. If it couldn't break your heart, is it really love? If it can't tear you apart, is it really love? If it couldn't break your heart, is it really love? If it can't tear you apart, is it really love? I criticized myself for trusting lies. I know I can't hide, 'cause then I'd be alone, stuck on the inside. The heart doesn't need a castle, it needs a bridge. Been so scared that I'd unravel. Brick by brick, I built these walls. Now I know that I'm enough. Just watch me tear them down.
this club.
They couldn't break your heart. Is it really love? They can't tear you apart. Is it really love? They couldn't break your heart. Is it really love? They can't tear you apart. Is it really love? Play a slow song. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. Play a slow song. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna 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 turn it up I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. Give it to me like I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. Give it to me like I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna 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 take it down. Give it to me like I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. Give it to me like 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 stand in the open, knowing it will all make sense.
Welcome back then, ladies and gentlemen, to Simplay Motorsport, here for the second race of the evening, around 20. Only 3 rounds to go after this. What a shame Season 2 is coming to an end. It's been an absolutely thrilling season. I'm joined in the commentary box by the top 3 from race 1. I'm going to start with third place, Jamie. You didn't have it all your own way in that race. Incidents, few bumps and shoves here and there. You look like you had big damage at the end of that race, and you clawed your way back to a podium.
Yeah, so there were a few things that need looking at after the night saver, but yeah, so it didn't really go all my own way, considering that I'd qualified second, then got into the lead. But I mean, I'll take third as it's more points.
Now, you was behind Gary at one stage, and you came past him coming down the hill and as he'd span. That must have been a big smile on your face as you drove past him.
You couldn't wipe the grin off my face.
I can imagine. Describe the conditions there, because that must have been horrible.
First few laps, that was pretty horrible, because the car just wanted to go into the wall and just didn't want to stay on the racing line. But after a few laps, the car just kind of...
Sorry, his little leech has just spun as he come. Sorry, Jamie, little leech has just spun, then coming down to the downhill section. Sorry, carry on.
Yeah, so after a few laps, the car kind of stuck a bit more to the track, and yeah, it was a bit more planted, apart from just down the hill where the rear just kept getting really loose.
Weather seems to be drying up for this one. Are you looking to make it a double podium in this, coming from the back of the grid, or what's your thoughts?
So I'll try for a podium, but yeah, the main aim is just to pull some more points on Gary and go into Rapuna with as big a points lead as possible.
Well, go on, Kelly.
Sorry, Matt. I was just going to say, I was going to ask Jamie the question: is he looking at the championship more in racing race by race? But obviously, you are looking at the championship. Do you find that that's impacted on your driving style? Are you feeling that you're not being as aggressive as normal because you're now looking at, as many points as you can possibly have, or are you just going for it as normal?
I feel like in the races I'm just taking it a bit more easier than I would in say the start of the season. Say it's more about keeping it on the track than going for a place that I don't really need, and I could end up spinning off, or especially around here, putting it in the wall, and that can absolutely wreck your race.
Yeah.
Well, we wish you the best luck for race 2.
Indeed.
We've got Dan in the commentary box, and Dan, again, another magnificent drive in the wet after what was such a horrible getaway off the line. You seemed to get away well, but then a bit of a barge with D Biggs and a bit of argy-bargy behind you took your rear wing off and gave you massive damage. The comeback drive was superb, though.
Yeah, I actually had a great launch. Yeah, Mazda and Jamie, who was in front of me, both, I don't know what it was, they either bogged down or both wheel spin like mad, and me and D-Vix had the launch. We then both went for the same piece of track, made contact, and then I believe Gary was behind me and made contact. So yeah, that one lap with no rear downforce was an absolute torture of a lap. How I managed to get around and stay in the position I was, I will never know. And then it kind of was like a blessing, really, because it kind of gave me clear air and enough time to just kind of get used to the conditions and get on with it.
I was going to say, you just seemed to pump the laps in, and then people fell by the wayside with damage or longer pit stops than they'd have wanted. And it looked at one stage like the race wing could have been on, as Ian ran a bit deep at the final corner on the penultimate lap, but then top of the mountain, yourself made a mistake and ultimately cost that challenge on the final part of the circuit.
Yeah, I was pumping in fastest laps near enough every lap, and every time I caught a car, I think I was either matching or just slightly slower than Emo Guy, and I was just trying to maintain that gap as quickly as possible. But yeah, one mistake at the top of the hill, tyre wear kicked in as well. I just made one little error and that was it. The race was gone. But if I hadn't made that mistake, I reckon I would have given Emo Guy a heck of a lot of pressure into the chase and into the final corner, because by the end I think it was 1.5 off him at the end.
Yeah, something like that. It's put you 7 points off the back of Andy, and looking at a potential top 5 finish in the championship. I bet you didn't think that at the beginning of this season.
to be honest, mate, I didn't actually think I'd be getting a couple of podiums like I did. I think 6 podiums now. So yeah, I'm happy with that, and I'm happy with the performance in the Porsche. And if I can stay in this Porsche for next season, I don't see why there's not a chance of trying to take the title.
Well done, mate. We wish you well for race 2. We're just going to grab a quick word as well before qualifying finishes with Ian. Ian, cracking driving. Again, another one that the start didn't seem to go exactly how you'd have wanted it to, but you got up to P2 and then got into the lead, and a bit of a fight with Mazda middle of the race, but ultimately you made sure you kept it defended and kept it planted.
Yeah, the one going the second corner, just going up the hill, I believe he spun. I don't know, not really spun, but lost the back end a little bit. I think I might have nudged. I think I nudged him just as he was spinning.
Yeah,
I'm not 100% on that. But after that, I just kept my eye on the road. I was focusing on trying to keep as much grip as I could while trying to maintain as speed as I could. And I was trying to aim to go roughly about lap 13, but I just thought that the gap's coming down between myself and second and third, so I might as well pull the trigger, get back out. Thankfully, I had a really fast pit stop from there.
Yeah, you seem to struggle towards the end of the race. Was the track an issue? The only Lamborghini inside the top 10, all the others finished... Sorry, not inside the top 10, but all the others seemed to finish down the bottom half of the grid. Phil, I think, got an 8th. Sutty, 10th, I think. Keegs, Deeks, Welshie and Andy, your teammate, all below the top 10. So the Lamborghini didn't seem to shine, but you seemed to make it work.
Yeah, it's the setup that I was actually running during that race was actually a recommendation of changes from another of all people. So it was hard to keep the back stable. So it really was. And I'm having a lot of issue with my brakes at the minute, where even no matter what brake pressure I have on that, they just lock up very easy. So it really was a mammoth task for me to keep it where I was.
What's the plan for race 2, mate? You start middle of the pack, sort of. So same again, or?
I'm just playing it by ear, trying to see what opportunities open up to me throughout the race, and my main aim is just constantly trying to improve my lap times. And if I make up places, then I make up places.
Well, I wish you the best luck, mate, for race 2.
Thank you very much.
Cheers, bud. So 3 people, Kelly, very happy with being on the podium then, and at the minute, peaceful provisional pole.
Yes, indeed. Cracking good race, that race 1. Anybody who's just joined us and they've missed it, go back and watch that when you have an opportunity. Don't do it now because we've got the feature race coming up. But yeah, cracking good race. And Daniel with the fastest lap, we were just talking briefly about that. He had the fastest lap in that race 1 with a 2:13 something or other. I mean, that's the pace that I could manage in the dry. Yeah. So I mean, that was a couple of seconds quicker than anyone. And he's telling us that he saved a replay and he's going to post that. So that would be a hell of a lap to watch.
That'll be a hot lap and a half to watch, I imagine. As you see, then the rain has stopped. Sun looks like it's trying to break through, and a bit of a dry line maybe started to appear on the circuit. So we saw last week at Imola, every lap you need to be out there for. Keegs is not the only one who's not posted a lap yet in the top 7. Ignore that Bozzy boy sat 12th. He will obviously retire. That is Liam in the commentary box with us. So Jamie will be P12, Gary 13th. Gary Foot will be 14th. No, Gary will be 14th. Jamie will still be 13th when Keegs does his lap time eventually. Dan will start, or should start, P8 with Emo Guy. Should start 9th. D-Big's 10th. Phil 11th. Mazda 12th. But at the minute, Peaceful Explosion, nearly a second in front of Andy, just over a second in front of Sutty, and then Little Leach 4.4, Deek 7.4, Welshie 9.5, Keeks yet to set a time. Peaceful looks like he's got it in the bag here, and where are others on the circuit? Because with 5 seconds left, Peaceful's, this is his last run. Andy's on his last run now.
He's on his last run, yeah.
Yeah, where's Sutty? Sutty's, this is his last run. Well, everybody's last runs now. Little Leach coming towards the end of his lap. Deeks has called it a day and gone into the pits. So we'll just see Little Leach. There's Welshie and Keegs as well on circuit. Andy, very, very start of his lap. So it'll be interesting to see what he can do. Oh, that Lamborghini, that rear end all over the place.
That, isn't it?
Yeah, it really was.
I think...
Oh, Peaceful's backed out.
I think... I was going to say this is going to be a case of who's on track last, but they're just not gaining the lap times. The track's not drying quick enough for them to be gaining the lap times. One of these guys is going to have to put in something. Little Leach gone to 112. Me and my big mouth. Look at that. Little Leach goes quicker.
He's found 4.5 seconds, I reckon, there, because he was about 4 seconds down on Peaceful Explosion. Keegs has done a time, but it's only good enough 12 seconds off the pace. But I have to say, Little Eats then putting it on what could be his first pole position of the season, and there goes Andy. It's all down on Sooty Apex then. What can Sooty Apex? What can Sooty Apex do? Where is Sooty? He's just about to cross the line. Here he comes then. Has he got enough time to put on the pole? No.
He hasn't. No, he hasn't.
Where's Welshie?
No.
Is Welshie the one we're waiting for? No, Welshie's done.
Welshie's backed out of it.
I think it's Andy, isn't it? I think it's Andy who is... we're waiting for him to cross the line, or pit at least.
I think he's got out of the car. I think he's left.
He must have left the car at the side of the road. Now, what that does is that means that's Little Leach's first pole position of the season. So hats off to Little Leach, what a job he's done. First pole of the season. That one's done. Qualifying over then for this one. And it will be Little Leach who takes pole by 0.3 of a second from Peaceful Explosion. What can he do from the front row of the grid in his Mercedes-Benz? Andy then in P3 with Sooty Apex in 4th. Deeks in 5th with his teammate Welshie 6th. Keegs in P7. And then the random generated grid. On Orthodox 8, Emo Guy 9th. D-Biggs 10th. Phil 11th. Master 12th. That Bozzy Boy 13th. But ignore him as Brick Boy Brazier will go up to 13th. And Gary will get 14th place then. We're about to go ready for the race. And while we do that, just on the championship, I forgot to mention to Emo Guy, he's actually gone above Little Leach and Sooty Apex into 4th place in the standing. So what a job for him. Keegs and Phil tied on points for that top 10 spot, with Welshie and Mazda gaining ground. Deeks as well has scored a few good points here. In the constructors, we know Run Flat Racing are out of it. The only guys who can now win the title is mathematically D-Biggs, but if Big Boy Brazier outscores him by 2 points, that one's done. Then, guys, who do you think is going to win the first race? The second race, Liam, who do you think is going to
win? In all honesty, we've seen an orthodox pace. I reckon he's got a shot at this. Little Leach on pole, I reckon he could do something. Same with Peaceful, he looked okay at the beginning of the first race as well.
Kelly, same question to you. Who's your tip for this one?
Unorthodox, again, being a bit biased. Again, I still want to see Peaceful have his day. You know, this could be an opportunity. He's on the front row. Yeah. But going to be hard to look past Dan. Gary got it. I mean, he's way down. He's at the back of the grid. But we know the Porsches are good. So who's running the highest Porsche? Probably...
highest Porsche is Little Leach on pole.
Little Leach, of course it is. Yeah, of course it is. That one's staring me in the face.
Yeah, that black one there on the front row.
That's the one. Yeah, the quickest one. Little Leach's got a good chance at it. Little Leach or Unorthodox. There you go.
Indeed it is. The black and grey Porsche of Little Leach alongside the white and blue Porsche of Peaceful Explosion. Then it's the yellow Lamborghini followed by the black and green Lamborghini of Sooty Apex, Andy in the yellow one. The multicoloured Lamborghinis then on the third row of Deeks and Welshie, with Keegs in his pink and white Lamborghini in 7th, Dan in his green and blue Porsche, with then Emo Guy in his red and black Lamborghini, and D-Biggs in his black, red and white Porsche, and then Mazda, Phil, Big Boy Brazier and Gary behind them. And what we've got here is a few lights on. We hear the noise of the lights coming on. And it's go, go, go here at Bathurst. Mount Panorama around 20. Look at the start. Gary's got in the back. He's already jumped Big Boy Brazier. And Little Leach leads heading into Tier 1. Are we going to get through this time? All right. The camera turns around now. And I think Jamie's got poor internet here. We could see Jamie Brazier lag out the session because he went straight on at turn 1. We won't jump on him, we don't want to cause him problems, but Gary from 14th up to 10th off the start. Heck of a start from the BMW, but his brother leads at the minute. The guys who could wrap up the Constructors title as early as round 1 next week. Let's see what happens though. Peaceful isn't done with him yet, and they've got a bit of a gap back to Andy already, just a half a second gap But here's the man to watch. Big Boy Brazier's got past Phil, so not the opening lap Phil would have wanted. Now then, what can Gary do? He's got Keegs just in front of him, will not make it easy in the mountain section, not where you want to be, overtaking, but Gary doesn't care. He's got to make moves in the championship. There was a tap in front, I do believe. I think Sutty's had a problem. Oh wow, Sutty's in the air, and is that going to cause problems behind? No, I don't think it has. Mazda's ever so defensive. That's Deeks, Welshie, Sutty, Phil, and I think I saw Remo guy. Yeah, Deeks, Welshie and Sutty all involved in that. Carnage between 3 Lamborghinis, and no one knows which way to go here at the moment.
Yeah, someone needs to give them a map because they're confused which way they're going. Disaster there for the Lamborghinis. That's a mess of all those lot, and they'll probably all be in the pits as well. So, yeah, that wasn't the start that those lot wanted, but the big win. Oh,
whoa, that's Jamie. Is that lag or is that? That's lag, yeah. I think we'll jump off Jamie. I think we'll leave Jamie for the time being, as there's a bit of lag there. Unorthodox up to P5 already behind Big Boy Brazier, behind D Biggs. Big Boy Brazier is the man down in P9. Andy's up into third, and he's looking to get back on the back. Yes, Peaceful has got in front of Little Leach, and is this his time? The Mercedes power. Did he do it down the Conrad straight towards the chase? Is that where he got the move on? The pace of that Mercedes in a straight line is superior. Gary up to 6th. We'll see the back of this now. He would have wanted his brother to have maybe held up the pack a little longer, but Peaceful's got through. Can Gary, though, now get on the pace of the cars in front?
Well, let's hope so, because this is the kind of battle we want. So, top 6 here. Top 6 are in good contention, really. Anyone that's top 6 are in good position to take this race.
What's happened to Mazda?
I don't know. I think he's got caught up in everything, hasn't he?
He's dropped down to P10. He was ahead of Big Boy Brazier at one stage. He's now down to P10, so not sure what happened to Mazda in this race, but let's see what he can do. He's obviously going to go long. Oh, Dan looked a bit twitchy there as he looked to pull out. Yeah, he looked to pull out on D Biggs. Deeks has stayed out. I imagine Welshie and Sutty are going to dive into the pits then. Obviously Deeks and Welshie can't pit on the same lap, so is Welshie getting the call from the team over Deeks. There's Keegs in the pits. And we'll wait any further Lamborghinis to come in, but at the minute no one as of yet in the pit lane. But Andy then all over the back of Little Leach. Big Boy Brazier. Oh, Little Leach has dropped it! Dropped it on his own. Oh, and he's had a big spin. He had a big spin. Oh, and I think I saw Dan catch Unorthodox catch the back of D Biggs. I do believe I did. Welshie and Sutty in the pits. Dan's got major damage, and did that all get caught up due to Little Leach spinning it? Is that what's happened there? Dan looked like he was in the back of D Biggs. I'm not sure if they caught Little Leach as well. But Gary, crucially up into P4. Sutty pitted at the end of lap 1, as did Welshie then. They both are still in the pits. Keegs is away. But Gary up into P4, crucially ahead of his championship rival, Big Boy Brazier. And Dan, look at the front of that Porsche. It's not the best looking car on the front of it. Gary pressuring Dan now. And look, you can see him. Dan's got Dan's got some aero damage on that car. Gary has drove past him. Wow.
Yes, indeed. He drove right past him, didn't he? Absolutely. So we'll probably see Daniel come into the pits at the end of this one. Pit window is just immaterial in this meeting, isn't it? Because there's so much damage. No, Dan's coming on. He's not going in the pits. He's going to live with it. So let's see how that pans out for him, shall we?
Oh, Gary had a bit of a wiggle there. Did you see that one?
I missed that one. No, I was just flicking up, looking to move to Peaceful, who's now gapping Andy a little bit. Come on, Peaceful. Yeah. Peaceful, it's going to be your day. I've got to say it. Every dog has his day, and maybe today's yours.
D Biggs has come into the pit. Sorry, Andy. Sorry, Kelly, carry on.
Yeah. Well, no, just 2 seconds ahead of Andy. Andy has been struggling all the way through this meeting. Yeah. He's started to get the hang of it. He's had a better start to this one. But has he got the pace to keep with Peaceful? We will certainly see.
Well, this is what we're going to have to wait and find out, isn't it? Dan, I'm surprised he didn't come in, Kelly, if you ask me. Look at the state of front of that car. He lost a lot of time in a straight line to Gary. Is the aero performance maybe not working on his Porsche? As well, obviously, due to the damage.
Did he let Gary through for whatever reason? Because he doesn't seem to be, the way Gary went past him, he went past him like a rocket, like he was standing still. And Dan's just still there in contention on the back of Gary. Did he let him through? Well, was that incident was that instant they had? Was there a little bit of a bump in there? Did Daniel feel
Well,
like
I don't know if Gary was on the back of them, because he was a bit further back, and it was Unorthodox and D Biggs that got caught up, obviously when Little Leach spun. Now let's see how much Gary pulls away from Dan on this straight, because this is where he overtaken him a moment ago. Dan's caught up to Gary quite a bit round here, so let's watch on the straight. How effective is this? Jamie Brazier. Oh, we've lost Jamie Brazier. Wow, we've lost Big Boy Brazier.
And they're catching up to Andy.
Andy, yeah, look at Gary on the straight. Yeah. He's gone. I think Dan's fine on the corners. The straights. Look at how much he's suffering, Kelly. I think there's more aero damage on that than we think. Might have been disconnected. Possibly. Jamie Brazier lost connection to his race end, so no points in this race for Jamie. Crucially, in this one. Oh dear!
And it's such a cracking first race.
Yeah,
was gaining points. Andy's in the pit straight away, look.
Pit window opens and Andy not hesitating, straight in. Dan, I think in the background when you change camera angle there, let's keep our eyes out. Dan's in.
Yep, Dan's gone into pits as well.
And there, Kelly, you just saw on the stream there, on the straights there, Gary was gone.
Yeah.
Definitely some Frontero. Phil up into third. Emo Guy up into fourth. What a start. But with Jamie Brazier disconnecting, he only has an 8-point lead in this championship. Now, what that means is Gary has to finish 8th or higher to be tied or leading this championship battle here. So it's turned on its head again as we head into the final 2 races next week. Join us live 8 p.m. Wednesday for the final 2 rounds of the Pro-Am. Join us live Thursday night, me and Kelly, for the Pro. Liam, you'll be racing that Pro-Am one, but before I get your opinions on that, what do you make to the start of this second race?
Amazing.
Well put.
Yeah. From what I saw, I didn't see any crashes off the line or in first turn, except from going up the hill. I think there was a couple crashes. But off the line, it was pretty good.
Yeah, it did look quite clean off the line, to be fair, around the first couple of corners. Gary then, 7 seconds behind this man, not one. Oh, Gary.
Oh, bit extra there, Gary.
Yeah, that's a bit of a line. Give that time back. Although I don't think he's gained a lot. Oh, he's gained half a second actually. Peaceful explosion.
It's very easy just there. It's very easy just there, Matt.
The car goes very light, doesn't it, over the crest of the hill. Even a bit of Frontero damage really affects top straight speed. For when I was practicing in the Porsche, says GC Gaming Pro. Evening, GC Gaming. Nice to have you in the chat. So there we go. D Biggs back in the pits again. And I was going to say here, Peaceful's not won since the very first Simplay race last season at Silverstone. So nearly a year ago. I'd hate to say 8 months ago, so I think since Peaceful's last won a race. But here he is, 6 seconds in the lead over Gary. Mazda up into P5 as Little Leach once again in the pit. So not going well for them two. Sutty, 13th place. Wow, he's not having a great race here at all. Deeks, good shout out to Deeks again. He seems to be getting better each week, does Deeks. He's P8 just behind Dan. He had that damage at the start with him, Welshie and Sutty. But he still kept going, and he's up to P8 as Gary comes into the pits. Yeah.
Getting that over and done with reasonably quickly.
Oh, so Emo Guy's in as well.
Yes, he is. Quite right. And we'll see where some of the other guys come into play as Gary comes out. But surely Gary's got to be thinking championship, hasn't he? Let's not bother worrying about Peaceful. Let him go. You know, he's got to be thinking championship now, hasn't
You've got to, surely. Surely you're in that Colin Turkey to mine zone of points over wins, points over podiums. With Jamie disconnecting, if he's listening to the stream, he needs... Oh, JC Gaming Pro is Joe. He's on his other account. Oh, evening, Joe.
Hello, Joe.
Gary's surely got to be thinking, if he's listening to the stream, right, 8th is 8 points, that ties me with Jamie. Anything better than 8th, job done. Gary's come out the pits and he's stayed ahead of Unorthodox by 1.8 seconds here. Andy, Mazda and Phil have all gone past. We've lost another driver from the session.
Who have we lost?
Little Leach, gone.
Little Leach.
Retired.
Right, yes.
So not the way Little Leach would have wanted to go.
Yeah.
What a shame for him. But for Gary here at the moment, while she's in the pitch yet again, I tell you what, it must. Bathurst has proven to be a real tricky circuit here. It really is not what a lot of people want. Here is Deeks. Big shout out to him. Huge damage on that Lamborghini, but he's still going.
Yes, indeed. He's still battling along with it. Yeah, you know. So again, the parts department at Lamborghini will be very busy when he comes into the pits to put bits and pieces on that. Yes. Wow, I did say at the beginning of the night, I'm sure I did, that this was going to be good.
You did.
We were going to have, some good fights. Oh, look at this.
Gary's got past Mazda.
Yeah.
And Dan's now all over the back of him. Dan obviously must have repaired damage, although it doesn't look it visually. Dan had to have repaired damage because that car was so slow in a straight. He was losing more time than gaining. Mazda now, P5. He's yet to pit in this race. So let's see what Mazda does. The straight line speed of the BMW, maybe not as good as the Porsche, but we'll see if Mazda can get away. Peaceful's coming to the pits at the end of lap 5, doing the job he needs to do here. Phil may inherit the lead, and here comes Dan. Mazda's left the door open slightly, and Dan chucks one up the inside of that curb. Does Mazda keep it there for the chicane? Dan just on the grass, on the brakes. Both get a bit of a twitch. Mazda forces Dan to the grass, and Dan straight across the corner there. Will he have to yield that position back? I think he is doing. He's yielding time back because Mazda's gained on him a little bit there. But for Dan, he got forced off a bit by Mazda, and the door came short, and Dan kept his foot in across the grass. He went. Gary on the back of Andy now. Now Mazda, will he be annoyed with that one? I'm not too sure. Mazda, obviously, like we said earlier, he's not really in this championship. But
how do you call that one, Matt? Because I'm not going to.
I mean, we see it in racing, don't we? In the real world, they'll come across, they'll force him onto the grass. Did Dan yield the time? Andy's horribly on the grass. Horribly on the grass there. Let's hope he can recover that before Dan gets past. Dan is past, as is Mazda.
Yeah.
You see it in the real world, don't you, Kelly, where, they get forced off here and there. Did Dan yield the time back? Maybe. Is Mazda really racing him? Maybe not. One of them, isn't it? You look at 50-50
if it was
for me.
Well, 50-50. I mean, Dan was up on the grass. Mazda gave him room. Then he pushed him to the outside. Yeah, half a dozen of one, 6 of the other. Yeah. I would say play on, personally. But
indeed, we've also lost another driver.
Yeah,
we've lost Andy. Andy's gone.
Andy, we saw him going wide just a minute ago and crashing up the wall. Is he called it a night for the night, or was it
maybe
too much damage?
Is he struggling that much around this circuit that he has called it a night? What a shame as well, because they're looking good, and with Little Each retiring from the race, it meant that for Andy and Emo Guy, they really had a chance of clawing big points back. Obviously now, Gary Philippe Motorsport's doing the business, and Iron Brew Racing only have Keegs left in the race, and Class of 97 only have Ian left in the race. Really, Class of 90, they could have gained extra points on that constructors title and maybe took it to the last weekend, but it doesn't look that way for Unorthodox. Though he's well past Mazda.
Has Peaceful pitted?
Peaceful's pitted, Peaceful pitted.
Still in the lead,
Peaceful pitted last lap.
There we go. So Peaceful still net first, with not quite such lead. What's he got? 8 seconds, 9 seconds or so over Gary. I think if Daniel can get half a sniff on the back of Gary, he'll give him a hard time if he can get close enough to him. But Dan's got his mirrors full of Mazda as well at the moment, so he's got enough to be worrying about. But I think if he gets behind Gary, we're going to have quite the scrap. It could be Peaceful's night if he could just keep it all together and keep it all pointing in a straight line. It could be his night tonight.
It could be, Phil obviously still has to come into the pits. The guys who haven't pitted are Phil, Mazda, Big Boy Bracy, obviously, but he's retired from this race. That's put a big fat 0 there. So just Phil and Mazda left to pit. And I'll tell you what, Phil has been very unlucky. He's only had one podium this year at the very first round of this season back at Nürburgring. God, that feels so long ago. That was already 11 weeks ago. As we go into the final circuit next week, what would have been round 12 before Monaco got dropped from the calendar. Monaco, Bathurst and Long Beach in one season. Could you imagine it if it actually happened?
Excellent. All you need is a horse thief mile and you'd have the complete set.
Now, Dan and Mazda are both catching to the back of Gary here.
They are.
They're not far off the back of him now. Mazda is very quick over the mountain. Look at the speed Mazda's got. He's really close to Dan up the mountain here. And tricky to overtake anywhere there, though, isn't it? Very tricky. He needs the run out, the final sort of. It's almost like a hairpin downhill sort of hairpin corner. This one here. Mazda needs a good run. Has Gary lost it? There's someone round. No, it's a Lamborghini. Right. Oh, that's Welshie or Deeks who is around and are keeping it well out the way. And I thought for a minute it was Mazda, but Gary, but it's not. Now, Porsche, BMW. What's going to happen here? Dan looks very quick in a straight line, but for me, doesn't look as good over the mountain than this BMW, but he's got enough over Mazda to keep pulling in front. Gary just in front. Again, like we said, points mean prizes for Gary. And with Jamie not scoring, does he fight Dan too hard?
Dan's got nothing to lose. He's not fighting for this championship. He can't win this championship. He's too far ahead. He likes the podiums, though.
Yeah.
Will Dan, as Dan goes a little bit wide, no harm done there. Yeah, Daniel's got the bit between his teeth this evening, and he's hunting Gary down, as we can see. Gary's in this for a championship. So the question remains, as you said, Matt, how hard is he going to defend against Daniel? TV
remote randomly started flicking channels. Must have got wedged or something. That's my hopes of the win gone. That's why Andy was on the grass then parked up. Obviously couldn't see
I tell you
where
what,
he was going.
Andy's room sounds like an absolute nightmare, like a health and safety nightmare.
He's told me there's wires everywhere.
Yeah.
He says he's told me before. Yeah,
motives have had streams go down because Andy's laptop has been balancing, I don't know, on the end of a broom handle that was balanced. And Gary going all over the place there. It does sound like Andy's room is not for anybody who's.
Can we pan to the bigger picture here, Kelly? Because Dan's as close to Gary as Mazda is to Dan. And Mazda was a 10th quicker than Dan on the last lap. Now look at this epic fight. You're not going to overtake at this section, especially.
No way.
So
this is hard going to be flat scat.
Gary's hit the wall.
Hit the wall. Oh, but he's managed to keep it all together because that's the nature of this track. Up at the top, there's no way through. He's bounced it off the wall, but manages to stay in front.
Mazda's having a look. Mazda's having a look. Up the inside, he's lunged. We didn't get to see the bigger picture, but he's really set one on Dan there. What a move that is from Mazda. That's brave to get it done there, but great respect shown from Unorthodox, because I don't think that they didn't seem to touch. It didn't look like they touched. Did Dan just make a mistake? He's got a bit of front wing flapping about there, Kelly. Did Dan just clip a bit of wall somewhere, and that's allowed Mazda to get the run up the inside because his bumper's flapping around a bit?
I think that was before. I was just flicking back over, looking at the stream, and Dan was well over to the right-hand side. Mazda came right down the left, touched the wall slightly, and just managed to hang it out right into that.
Brave move.
It was brave, yeah, and Kate made it stick.
Yeah, but great respect as well to Dan. Hats off to Dan and Mazda. Great driving from both of them for Dan to give Mazda the room and notice him so quickly. I will say, Dan is a bit suspect to leaving the door open on corners like that. I managed to send one on him in F1 once, but we didn't keep it as clean. We did touch wheels and Dan span round, but he has got a habit of leaving the doors open at times, as Dan. Maybe that's something in his armoury that there is a weak link, and maybe that's something Mazda's exploited over these past couple of laps. Mazda is flying.
Maybe so, you're quite right. Now, Gary's got a mirror full of two guys who are not in the championship but are quicker than he is.
Yes.
You know?
That's the crucial thing.
Absolutely. So he's got mirrors full of, he's had the mirrors full of Dan for the last couple of laps. Now he's got Mazda in his mirrors. He'll know who these people are. He knows who's right behind him. He knows everything that's going on. He's fighting for a championship. He's on the podium at the moment. We don't know where Phil's going to end up with this, but these guys are fighting for podium positions here, and they all want it. But Gary, as I said, has got
Mazda's onto the gravel, and that's
down through.
Yeah. Oh no, Dan!
Oh, Dan's lost it.
Oh, I tell you what, heart in throat mouth there, but just as Dan had got back in front of Mazda after Mazda's mistake, again, we've said this, Kelly, that part of the track, the car goes over the crest, it goes a bit light, and as it goes light, that's when you're just hitting the brakes, and Dan there just lost the rear, so he's... we saw this last week at Imola, though, Kelly, as well. Dan didn't look as confident in the dry at Imola as what he did, those when it rained, and again, here, when it's wet, Dan looks brilliant. When it's dry, just a few chinks that need repair, a few mistakes coming in. Phil leads this race by 14 seconds out front. Not seen much of Phil, as we've had a trio of cars here battling it out for so long. Here he is. What a job he's done. We've not seen much of Phil this season. Not been his best of seasons here at Simplay, and when I spoke to him off air in the week, he said he's had more unluck than you could imagine. Start line incidents or just wrong place, wrong time sort of thing this year, and that seems to have been how his season's gone. But he's out driving his teammate Sooty Apex tonight. And for Phil, he's got to pit. He's 15 seconds ahead of Peaceful. Peaceful, for only 3 seconds. Has he made a mistake? That gap to him and Gary's come down a bit.
Yes, it has. Quite a lot, actually, yes. So Gary's still either Peaceful's going backward. Gary's in the 209s, Peaceful in the 212. So Gary's got some pace at the moment. He looked like he was falling back into unorthodox and Mazda.
Maybe the pressure of Mazda and Dan's mistake.
Yeah,
and then falling off the back of him has allowed Gary to be like, right, I've not got to focus on defending as much. I can attack the car. Liam, grab your thoughts on this race quickly.
You
went and woke Liam up then, didn't you?
I think I have.
No. The fight between Gary Mazda and Unorthodox, that was very entertaining to watch, should I say. Very close, unfortunate for Unorthodox for the spin. Lucky for Mazda in a way, after going onto the gravel, then to get past him after he's spun him, after Unorthodox has spun himself.
Yeah, indeed. Mazda here, Kelly, is...
Yeah, that line again, look. Sorry, mate. He just took that same line. We've tried to drop down the inside. He's reeled Gary right in, hasn't he? Gary had a scruffy lap to this side. I don't know. But
I've not seen Gary have the worst of laps. But, I mean, to be fair, I was watching a video in the week, Kelly. A bloke did an hour testing in every GT3 car, and then after the hour, took the fastest time in the hour and put them in a list. Default setup, so every car was default. And the BMW M6 that Mazda's in was the quickest car on time around Bathurst. Porsche only about 12th out of 16 GT3 cars, or however many GT3 cars there are. Porsche, Lamborghini, Mercedes not around the top 10, not in the top 10 massively. And it was like M6, McLaren, Acura was the top 3, and it was like interesting to see that not the powerful cars was the better ones around this circuit. And we're seeing here Mazda through the mountain. He did it with Dan a couple of laps ago. Down the straights, Mazda couldn't catch Dan, but the minute he's over the mountain, Mazda was all over the back of him and really wanted to hassle that Porsche. He's doing the same here to Gary.
Yes, absolutely right. I mean, the whole thing of that, I mean, is very interesting, these kind of statistics and, you know, people who are out there doing these kind of tests against the cars and so on and so forth. But it's a little bit subjective, isn't it? You know, what works for you on a 15-lap race round here? That's the point, isn't it? You know?
That's the thing.
Yeah,
but it's interesting to look at the stats on a base sort of thing before the drivers step in the car and go, oh, okay, the BMW M6 could be in the right hands, potentially the best car around here. And we see Mazda, who's no slouch behind the wheel, as we've seen already this season. Look at him. He's on the mountain section. Mazda.
You're not going round there.
his lap last time was 3 tenths slower than Emo Guy. Emo Guy's passed Dan. What's happened to Dan? Dan had another moment.
I don't know. That will.
Interesting. Emo Guy's gone. Emo Guy's gone P5. Dan's dropped to 6th. Oh, there we go.
Damage.
Huge damage.
Yeah. Look at that. Oh, what you're doing there, Dan? That's a mess.
I tell you what he's doing there. He's what's my quickest way to get back to the pits, because I ain't going to turn this without it going round. And you see him using the walls, leaning and resting on the walls a bit here. There's Sutty. That's Sutty, who's a lap down in P8 on Dan. Yeah. So Sutty has a chance here. The sooner he can get past him, the quicker he can maybe go to unlap himself. Now, what's happened to Mazda?
Yes. Yeah, he's dropped off again, hasn't he? He dropped off, and has he made a mistake? He must have made a mistake, because Gary couldn't have pulled 3 seconds.
No, we'd only gone from Mazda over the hill and then gone on to Dan, and Mazda was all up the rear of him. Did Mazda get too close and maybe outbrake himself?
Who knows? Absolutely, something like that. But he'd lost 3 seconds. He was all over the back of Gary.
Do you know the shame for Mazda here is he's still got to pit?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Has he not taken his pit stop yet?
Him and Phil are both still to pit. They're the only 2 left to come into the pit. So for Mazda, he'll possibly lose out to Emo Guy. Maybe now that Dan's got to pit again, he'll stay in front of Dan. But crucially,
so
he's got to pit again.
Emo Guy's looking a little bit tasty for another podium
looking
here.
pretty for a P3, depending on
If
Phil's
not
pit stop. Yeah.
Phil's, yeah. Phil's going to make the difference. Down in the pits again. We were pretty sure that was going to happen because he smashed that to bits, didn't he?
That's going to be a lengthy pit stop as well, as Deeks is in the pits inside the top 10. But for Peaceful here, he said before the night, Kelly, I hope I get to speak to you tonight. But
yeah. And I think if he does win this one, we do need to speak to him because it's been a long time coming.
Yeah, Liam's on standby to get the guys in at the end of this race, but most definitely as Keeks pits again as well. So, the Lamborghinis have struggled around this circuit, Kelly.
They certainly have. Yeah, they certainly have. The Porsche seems to be the most handy round here, although Mazda's made a cracking job of that BMW. And Peaceful's looking good in that Mercedes. And I was just going to comment, we're on lap 12. Where did that go? Where has that gone?
The time has flown by, and before we know it, look, hang on. Gary's really put in some laps in here. I know he was slower last lap, but he's 2 seconds behind Peaceful. We've watched Peaceful do that lap. We've not seen Peaceful make a mistake once. But somehow Gary is 2 seconds off the back of him. But you're right, Kelly. Where has this second race gone tonight? It has flown by.
I haven't had a single opportunity to make a dig at Matt Neal at all. I mean, where's he gone?
It's been too good, mate. And I even brought Matt Neal up in the first qualifying series race round Bathurst.
Yeah, I know.
No dig.
I know.
It's been too good an entertaining race to get digs in at Matt Neal tonight. Liam, I know you're smirking to yourself. You love a dig about Matt Neal. As Phil then finally comes into the pits, lap 13. Liam can't really have a dig at Matt Neal. End of lap 12 field pit, sorry. Liam can't really have a dig at Matt Neal. He's new to the touring cars. As Mazda comes in as well, and look, Emo guy's only just come out the final corner, and Phil's away, so this could be a race till the end. Phil is ahead of Emo guy, so has Phil just managed to keep his
well ahead?
Yeah. Ian's got some damage on that Lamborghini as well. Phil,
absolutely.
for me, and hats off to Phil, because he's been underrated this season in my opinion, and in this race we've not spoke about him a lot because of the action that's happened. He's done well. Gary, he's round, he's in the wall. What has he done? 2 laps to go. Big damage.
Phil's going to be right on him, look. Phil's going to be right on him now.
Do you know that podium that we said Emo guy had maybe lost out on? I think he's going to
having it back.
Yeah, I think he may get it back here, and I think Phil may be getting a second place. Gary, big. Dan's in the pits again. He's lost out to Sutty now.
I don't think he's come out, has he?
I don't know. Is he not? Now, question: if you're Gary, do you make this last?
Difficult, isn't it? Depends how he can drive it. I think it's going to depend.
D-Biggs is over a minute behind the leader. Gary's only 8 seconds off the leader. Do you make this car last? The 2 laps?
I think it depends how easily Ian catches up and overtakes him, I think.
Ian's already done him. Ian's already done him.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mazda's 12 seconds behind.
A lap and a half. Mazda's 12 seconds. So the way that Gary's going, how long is it going to take? Dan, looks like Unorthodox only just come out of the pits.
Yeah, 5 minute 25 pit stop. So if that's Gary, if that's similar fate for Gary, he's going to come out.
I'd make it last.
I think you've got to. I think you've got to. Yeah.
That would be my feeling.
So Dan's been in the pits there 3 minutes. As Ian is all over the back of Phil. Look at the speed Ian's got over Phil. Has Phil made a mistake? I've not seen anything. Phil and Ian side by side they go. They just touch a little bit there. And has Ian got the job done? He has. He's on the grass a little bit.
He's on the grass.
Yeah, Phil should get that one back. Yeah, Phil gets back in front, second place as we enter the final lap. Gary has got to make that Porsche work for one last lap. There's Sutty in the background who's going to be a lap up on himself. Then he'll be on the main lap from Gary at least. And Gary, you're right, look, doesn't pit.
Yeah. No, he's still got 10 seconds over Mazda, hasn't he? More than 10 seconds. And he looks like he's coming to grips. Let's get off Ian because that lag does my head in. It looks like he's got to grips with the damage. He's just going to take it home, really. That's all this, of course, has let Peaceful right off the hook to just roll this one home. And just as Gary was spinning, I was just thinking to myself, who do I think's driver of the day? And I was going to say Gary had done a fantastic race, but unfortunately that just the mistakes come into it again, you know. And,
get your votes in up, by the way, on the stream. Get your votes in on the final lap of this race. Get your votes in for driver of the day, please. Very quickly. Kelly, who is your driver of the day?
Well, let's just wait another half lap and see this man come across the line. because we've been championing Peaceful.
We have all season. All season.
Yeah, all season. As when I've joined Simplay, pretty much from the start, I haven't had this guy have the luck. To be fair, you know, he's had pace. He's had pace. He's had the opportunities, but things have gone wrong. Some of them his own fault, some not. And we've been championing him every single week to make it happen, and you know, transfer that pace into a race win. And so as long as Peaceful doesn't drop it on the chase, then he's going to be my driver of the day, and he's going to be race winner.
He is. Emo Guy's got Phil, and Phil's time is dropping off quite rapidly here. Has Phil had an off?
Slowly.
Yeah, it looks like Phil's had an off here then. Sutty unlaps himself. But I've never been happier to see a man win a race. It's been a long time coming, and I have to say, Peaceful Explosion, one of the nicest lads. He's only able to get on for practice after the race and then an hour before the race due to work all week. But this man, it's been a long time coming for him. He's going to take his second win at Simplay Motorsport. A flash and a weave across the line, and your race around 20 winner is Peaceful Explosion. He's done it the hard way, but he's done it. Emo Guy, cracking drive tonight.
Just looking at Mazda's time on Gary. Sorry, he has caught him up rather quickly. Emo Guy, you're quite right, come over in second, and Phil came third. But I just jumped back to this because Gary needs these points. He's going to bring it home. Gary, look at the state of that car.
Gary,
he's going to bring it home.
Fourth place, and what could have been a podium, unfortunately isn't. Mazda a fifth place, set of fifth places for Mazda tonight, so good points in the bag for himself. D Biggs, bit of a quiet second race for D Biggs here, but it's going to be a sixth place nonetheless. Good drive from himself in this one. Deeks catching it. I was going to say Deeks was catching it. The back markers caught D Biggs, and D Biggs with huge rear damage. Sutty's 52 seconds behind, so I don't think that's anything to worry about.
Be a problem like
but
that.
The spinning Lamborghini just caught up with D Biggs. That was Welsh, I think, he was spinning round. But this man, one mistake tonight, maybe pulling in front of Peaceful race one, but apart from that, has had quite a good night. Kelly, your driver of the day. Peaceful Explosion. Liam?
I say Emo, if I'm going to be honest.
Good shout. I'm going to go with Mazda because I think two fifth places. Mazda's done brilliantly. Because Mazda's had to race hard. Emo Guy had quite a comfortable win. I think Mazda's had to race really hard for this. Get your Peaceful Driver of the Day, says Rabbit Joe in the chat. D Biggs going to come home then for his P6. Welshie behind him is going to cross the line for a P11. That's everybody who has finished. Deeks got 10th. Keegs, I didn't see actually Keegs crossing the line there. He got P9. Unorthodox, poor race for him, gets P8. And Sutty Apex will get to P7 in this one, as Liam has invited the boys in for a chat. Fastest lap of the second race. 2:08.9. D-Big's quicker. Dan 2:08.7. 2:08.6 for Sutty. Wow.
Yeah.
Sutty Apex, fastest lap of the race. So what a job for Sutty Apex. Fastest lap and a 7th place. And I'm going to ask Phil the question in a minute because Phil came third. If he's done that fastest lap on the wheel, great. If he's not, it can't, unfortunately. As we just wait for the drivers to come in to the party for their interviews. Hopefully we can get Ian in as well. Just going to rearrange the table. And as I'm looking at the table now then, what was 8 points in the lead for Jamie Brazier, as Dean Wasocki says, Peaceful for driver today as well. What was 8 points in the lead going into race 2, it's now 5 points behind going into the final 2 rounds. And what a stellar job these two have had. What a stellar season these two have had, should I say. Leach Motorsport, though, in this race have wrapped up the Constructors' Champions. Back-to-back Constructors' Champions here. Liam, if we want to get Gary in, if we try and get Gary in as well for a quick chat on his Constructors' win. D-Big stays third. Emo Guy finishes today in P4. Sutty in 5th with Little Leach P6. Dan, after Andy doesn't finish, Dan up to P7 in the championship. So leapfrogs Andy by a point. Peaceful Explosion as well leapfrogs Andy. He's tied with Dan in this one. Phil comfortably ahead of Keegs now, with Mazda really hotting up on the back of Welsh. We've got Phil in the chat. I'm on the wheel, Fastio Lapio, so that explains a lot. Phil, is he on the wheel?
Yeah, he's actually on the wheel. He was going to change to pad, but he backed out of it and stayed on the wheel.
Wheel and
Good
fastest lap. What a legend, Phil. That was a quiet race out front for yourself after people had pitted, and
Yeah, it was a bit dodgy at first. I was following behind Jamie Brazier, and he was lagging all over the place. He was in my car at one point, sat in the passenger seat. And but then after that, everybody seemed to pit. I don't know whether it was damage or just that's the way they wanted to do it. But it was always my plan to stay out as long as possible in case I hit the wall somewhere.
You've had an up and down season, to say the least. Unlucky at times, caught up in incidents at other times, but podium, Nürburgring podium now, you're ending the season strong.
It's been more of a down season this one than an up, but it's been an awkward one. I've missed quite a few rounds with work, but it's a strange one. I wasn't fancying this track 8 and 8, and the first race kind of went a bit south before the first corner, really. When it got a bit carnage, but then second race managed to keep it clean, and shows what I can do if I manage to stay out of trouble.
Well done tonight, mate. We wish you the best luck at the final 2 rounds next week. Ian, you got Phil on the last lap there, and another P2, 2 podiums tonight, puts yourself in the top 4 in the championship. You've got to be pleased with your efforts.
Yeah, definitely. My wrists are not exactly in the same emotional state right now, but I'm definitely happy with the way that I performed. I felt last lap incident. I couldn't have avoided that. I thought you were spinning, but I didn't think you were going to come back across, so I do apologise about that one.
You had a race there where you seemed to come from the mid-pack and you had to fight your way through to the front in this one, but incidents around you, we saw Dan have a big moment, Gary had a big moment as well, Mazda pitted. It all sort of cleared its way for you up onto the podium steps.
There was a couple of instances with Mazda for both races coming down the chase. He pushed me away a little bit, but I didn't let it affect me. I just kept got back on track and kept on going.
Well done, mate. Well, wish you the best luck as well going into the final round, as your team can push for that second place in the constructors, and you can push for that top 3 as well. So, good season all in all.
Yeah, I would definitely say so. It's definitely better than what my season was last time. So it was. I'm definitely happy with where I am right now. I'm just going to keep on pushing. Yeah,
well done, mate. Congratulations. And the man me and Kelly's been cheering for all year, driver of the day. He's done it. It's took him a while, but he's done it. Peaceful. That's a cracking drive.
Get in. That was hard work. I could see Gary slowly gaining. I was making tiny mistakes, clipping the odd little wall. I think I had 9 front end damage at the end. I thought I just got to keep it facing the right way at least.
It was a race where you led to start with, you got away, you managed to get past Craig early doors. You didn't look back. You wasn't really closing the gap to Phil after you made your pit stop. But knowing Phil's got to pit, surely that puts your mind at rest, and you could still just focus on getting them laps in.
Yeah, exactly. I was just trying to keep it between the walls instead of in the walls. The uphill section was sort of my downhill, really. That's where I struggled. The downhill section, the Merc absolutely flew, and then onto that back straight. I was just watching, keeping my eye on the battle behind and Gary's time, and knowing if I needed to push that bit more. I was pushing as much as I could anyway.
Sorry, go on, Kelly.
I was just going to say, we've been championing you all through the season. You've had the pace definitely at times, but kind of mistakes and bad luck has got in the way. It looked like, apart from when Gary was catching you, it looked like a reasonably quiet race for you, as in you didn't have to fight too hard with anybody else, did you?
No, once I got in front, it was pretty quiet really. There was not really any traffic. If I come past the back marker, like Keegs moved well out of the way. She did. There's a few that it was quite easy to let me pass, so that helped. But it was quite a quiet race for me, thankfully.
Just finally, Peaceful, I want to ask you, what happened race 1? Obviously, we saw D-Big seem to try and get going again as you was coming around and you caught him. Did that unravel your confidence in race 1?
Yeah, I ended up with, I think it was 20 front end damage off that. I went to follow Mazda in front of him and didn't expect D-Biggs to move. And he moved, and I couldn't have T-boned him much better. I got 20 front end damage, and I tried to keep going, and I could see I was losing time, so I pitted, fixed the damage, came back out, and then on that outlap, I clipped the wall at the top of the mountain and ended up with 100 foot rear.
So just unravelled.
Dear. Yeah.
Well done, mate. Driver of the day, first win of the season, second win here
Well done.
at Simplay. Kelly, any final thoughts from yourself?
Bathurst, isn't it fantastic? I feel when you're doing the setup for next season, that Bathurst certainly needs to be in there. What a cracker! We moved to Rapuna Park for the last round of the season, don't we?
We do.
That's why my missus' home country, New Zealand. So I look forward to going to New Zealand and looking forward to a cracking good end to the race. I think it's another one of those that people don't race that often.
Yep.
So I'm expecting some good results, but cracking good race as usual. Great driving and fantastic.
Indeed. Liam, any final thoughts from yourself as well?
Nothing except from well done, you three. You did exceptional, and also well done, Peaceful.
Yeah, indeed. We'll be back live next week, 8 PM on Wednesday night for the finale of the Pro-Am. Both titles wrapped up in that one. Good battle for...
Matt,
Yep, go on, sorry.
Before you go, prediction for the Grand Prix. Winner.
Prediction for the Grand Prix this weekend. Winner?
Yeah.
Lando Norris.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah.
Yourself?
Yeah. I'm going to say, realistically, Max Verstappen.
I was going to say that, but I didn't want to be boring.
yeah. I wanted to say, when you said Lando, I wanted to say George Russell, and that would be epic. You know, absolutely epic.
Alonso.
Yeah,
I would have went for Ricardo.
Oh,
Daniel, good shout. Probably a good shout, to be fair. The McLarens are going to be strong this year for sure. But sorry to
you're fine.
in there, Matt. I just thought it was
You're
interesting.
fine. Peaceful as well. Just say in the chat, well done, says Ian Thompson, and Motive Racing as well. That would be G on the chat. Well done, great job, Michael Matthews. He says your ex-teammate, wishing you the well done, congratulations that you deserve. We'll be back though next week, Rapuna Park, 8 PM. Pro-Am still pushes for promotion and a good midfield battle. So join us for that one, and we'll be back Thursday night, where the title is 5 points in it. Gary, Big Boy Brazier, down to the wire, just how we like it, proper racing to the final 2 races of the season. That's all we've got time for though here at Simplay Motorsport. Hit that thumbs up button, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and we'll see you next week from all of us here at Simplay. Take care, good night.
Thank you, good night.
And we're clear.
I've been holding in a cough for ages.
You've been holding a cock. You've been holding a cock for ages, did you say?
Why did you mute your mic? Why did you just mute your mic?
I know. I mean, when I say ages...
By the way, you said some big words. Do you know what all these big words mean?